You an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spendabit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spendabit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co. Reuters reports election officials across Florida say they expect former felons to flock to their offices to register to vote next month when a newly passed ballot initiative launches one of the largest enfranchisement efforts in modern U.S. history. But partisan politics and logistical questions are clouding the January 8th rollout of a state constitutional amendment that could restore voting rights to more than 1 million ex-felons in Florida. Democrats and voting rights advocates cried foul this week when Governor-elect Ron DeSantis, a Republican and critic of the measure known as Amendment 4, said the Republican-controlled state legislature must first pass a law to implement the changes. DeSantis said, "I don't see any way around that. Regardless of whether you want it, you know, all to be implemented tomorrow, or whether you are trying to kind of frustrate it." Florida Democratic Party Chairwoman Terry Rizzo said in a statement calling DeSantis' move an act of voter suppression by Republicans who want to pick and choose who should have the right to vote. And State Senator Dennis Bexley, the Republican chairman of the Ethics and Elections Committee, agreed the measure largely could take effect without new laws. Democrats have celebrated the measure's passage as a civil rights victory, as well as a chance to expand the electorate in their favor in battleground Florida, the largest of the states that swing between parties in presidential elections. Florida has barred ex-felons from voting for 150 years. African Americans who favor the Democratic Party have been disproportionately affected by felon voter disenfranchisement. The measure, approved by more than 64% of Florida voters in November, states that felons' voting rights shall be restored upon completion of all terms of the sentence, with the exceptions for those convicted of murder or sexual offenses. Members of a bipartisan coalition that wrote the ballot initiative and campaigned for its passage are adamant that its language was designed to take effect without any further laws. Zencash has changed their name to Horizen to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They are working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizen platform. The unique spelling of Horizen is a nod to their heritage and recognizes that they remain committed to the vision that their project was built upon. Their coin and ticker symbol remain ZEN. Learn more at horizen.global and join the Horizen community. HORIZEN.global. Antiwar.com reports at least 12 people have been killed and 25 wounded in and around the vital Yemeni aid port of Hodeidah as pro-Saudi forces clash with the Shiite Houthi movement and Saudi warplanes strike the area. All of this is raising concern after a successful week of peace talks in Sweden, which ended in a ceasefire deal, and growing concerns that the skirmishes might mean the ceasefire will not take hold. The UN and officials on both sides are downplaying that, however, saying that the official ceasefire deal has been put off a few days and will be implemented on Tuesday at midnight. That's the hope, at least. Violent clashes in Hodeidah have displaced thousands and are threatening the food supply for millions of Yemenis. Continued fighting in the lead up to the new deadline might get out of control, and the ceasefire might never be implemented at all. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
With each successive bite failing to relieve his anxieties, increasingly worried man Dylan Hawks told reporters today that he has yet to come across any trace of guacamole in his burrito, despite having specifically requested it when ordering.
No, there definitely wasn't any guac there. Cheese, beans, chorizo. Oh man, I hope they didn't forget.
Hawks has continued to maintain hope that there may still be an undiscovered sliver of avocado somewhere in his tortilla. However, with his fears for the meal mounting, Hawks has reportedly considered asking the cashier for a refund at various points while eating the burrito.
The thing is, if you had a burrito and it was missing cheese, you might not notice it because there's sour cream, but guacamole is completely different. I just don't know how I wouldn't have tasted it by now. Christ, I'm almost done with this thing.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. You are invited to join us right here. The toll-free number for you is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And we've also got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
Melanie.
And Mark.
Of course, you can bring up anything you want. That's the point of the program. On the way here, apparently there's protests going on outside of at least one Amazon fulfillment center. People are mad at Amazon for various different reasons. We can explain or attempt to explain some of those. Also, Melanie, you want to talk about shooting government bureaucrats. So we'll get into that one on the way here. And Mark, you've got a politician who's been arrested for child abuse.
Correct.
In California. We can talk about all of those things. Your calls and thoughts are also welcome. On Saturday night, there was a call that came in about asset forfeiture. And I'd said we were going to get to the story, but we just never had a chance. This sometimes happens here on Free Talk Live. If it's a busy night on the phones, we may have great show prep ideas, things that we want to talk about. But ultimately, we will take your calls first and foremost. So that's actually what we're going to start the show out tonight with, because Tom is in New Hampshire, and he's listening online at freetalklive.com. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, as far as the Free State Project movers need to know something here. See, last winter, there was a really cold spell at the end of the year, and I was having trouble with my furnace. Mm-hmm. And it seems that I made this blunder of, I took their word for it that you can use heating oil and this cool additive that prevents it from freezing, except that it doesn't work. It doesn't stop the heating oil.
Heating oil can freeze?
Oh, yeah, heating oil instead of kerosene. It was real cold, and they sell you this additive, and it doesn't stop the heating oil from freezing out in the outdoor tank.
Oh, you have an outdoor tank. Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. And so I wanted to pass along what wound up happening besides the night that it was so cold that we didn't have any heat and the pipes wound up freezing, and that is staying home and crank up the thermostat to the max, and when it finally sputters out in the just pre-dawn hours, I figured out, hey, I go out there with this bucket of water and pour the water onto the pipe that leads from the tank to the house. And then I press the reset button, and sure enough, it starts working a little more because I warmed up the heating oil that was in the pipe from the tank to the house.
So it's a bucket of hot water?
A bucket of, well, you can use cold water, too, because cold water is still way warmer than the pour point of heating oil.
Interestingly, according to Google here, heating oil freezing temperature, it is under normal circumstances. It occurs when temperatures reach approximately 16 degrees Fahrenheit.
And it gets colder than that in New Hampshire.
Sure does.
Yeah.
So what I...
That's balmy some days.
So I crank up the heat to the maximum in order to draw down the tank, and I got a kerosene can, which is like a gasoline can, and you can use diesel if there's no gas station in your area that sells kerosene out of the pump.
Right.
But I have a gasoline station in my town that sells kerosene right out of the pump, so I filled that, running back and forth like that to fill the tank in order to improve the ratio, because kerosene has a much lower pour point. And that lasted till the next morning. It only sputtered out once. I only had to save it one time.
Wow, this sounds like it was a nightmare, because the time you're talking about, the temperatures had gotten down well below freezing for 2 weeks, basically solid, at least here in New Hampshire.
Oh,
it was a crazy winter last winter.
And so I just got to make sure people understand that additive they tell you all about, putting that in with heating oil, does not work. You got to use kerosene this time of the year. Maybe you can get away with heating oil in April.
So so essentially, one of these burners for heating oil will also burn kerosene. It has no problem going.
Oh yeah, they're totally compatible with each other.
As is diesel.
And then it puts the pour point. Somewhere in between. And then as you draw down the tank and refill it with just kerosene in the wintertime. But you might get away with heating oil in April or October. But
all of our listeners in Florida and Mexico right now are like, whatever.
Well,
we don't have to deal with this crap.
I think that it's interesting to see what the Yankees deal with.
Yeah.
If you have to, it makes you feel smug, if nothing else, right?
Does it?
Oh yeah. As a Floridian,
you feel smug, or the Floridian feels smug?
I was a Floridian for a long time.
But now you feel smug because you have to deal with a bunch of cold stuff?
No. What I feel like is that I'm going to go to Florida next week. This week.
Yeah, but somebody's still got to run the heater.
Yeah, that's fine.
At your house.
Mine's inside. I'm fine.
Thanks, Tom, for the call tonight. I'd never seen an outdoor heating oil tank, but I guess if your room in your house is limited, you got to put it outdoors, which would make life difficult.
It clearly does.
During at least 1 month out of the year. So you can join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. The story that I wanted to share tonight is about asset forfeiture. It was brought up on Saturday night, and I thought, we need to talk about this. CJ Ciaramella.
Hold on, I just thought about something. It's quite possible that you could put in a sort of an auxiliary tank, so the pipe comes in to a tank, the tank fills up in sort of a vacuum, and then the pipe leaves the smaller tank to go to the furnace. That would mean that on the coldest nights that you don't have to worry about the pipe outside freezing up, because even if it does, there's still the smaller tank with some amount of heating oil. Maybe it's 10 gallons or something.
So 2018 writes Reasons CJ Ciaramella was a bad year for civil asset forfeiture, the infamous practice by which police can seize property even if the owner is not charged with a crime. In late summer, Philadelphia settled a class action federal lawsuit over its aggressive asset forfeiture program. How aggressive? One 78-year-old pensioner had $2,000 seized after police found her possessing a small amount of marijuana, which her retired husband had been using to alleviate his arthritis. The city agreed to drastically curtail when and how it seizes property from residents and to set up a $3 million fund for victims of its sticky-fingered cops. Which is surprising that happened, but it happened. Apparently, asset forfeiture will continue, of course, in Philadelphia, albeit in a limited form. But the salad days when police and prosecutors could seize 300 to 500 homes per year, according to the lawsuit, are now over. Earlier in the summer, a federal judge struck down Albuquerque's asset forfeiture program, ruling the city, quote, has an unconstitutional institutional incentive to prosecute forfeiture cases because, in practice, the forfeiture program sets its own budget and can spend, without meaningful oversight, all of the excess funds that it raises from previous years. That's a quote from the federal judge in that case.
I would agree that that's a real problem. However, that's been going on for decades.
Right. Only now is the court system actually doing something about it. After decades of abuse and stolen homes and cars and property of various
more than 100
types.
homes a year apparently in New Mexico. Was that New Mexico?
No, they claim here.
Well,
it's not clear if it's Philadelphia who is seizing 300 to 500 homes a year, or if that's like a nationwide number. The article doesn't make that clear. The statistic comes immediately after discussing Philadelphia and its seizures, but it's not clear.
Got it.
The U.S. Supreme Court, which previously seemed reluctant to interfere in such cases, has agreed to consider an asset forfeiture challenge out of Indiana. Arch-conservative Justice Clarence Thomas also sharply criticized the practice in a 2017 dissent in a different case. He wrote at the time, quote, "These forfeiture operations frequently target the poor and other groups least able to defend their interests in forfeiture proceedings."
Yeah, I dislike when they call Thomas and Scalia conservative justices. They're originalists. They read the Constitution as saying what the Constitution says. Now, I don't agree with every ruling they make, but that's their claim.
Oh, I don't agree with everything the Constitution says either, so I would expect that.
Yes.
We got more coming up here. In fact, Melanie went to law school, so I imagine you've got an opinion about asset forfeiture. We'll get into all of that. Your calls and thoughts, welcome. Has it been used against you? Have you ever gone through this nightmare of having the government charge your property in court, and then you have to hire an attorney to try to get it back? It's Free Talk Live.
And not to mention the shedding, I would vacuum the carpet 3 times a week. Frodo was scratching all night long, bouncing on the side of the bed, keeping me awake the whole entire night from all the scratching and chewing. It kind of makes you neurotic.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy?
Mounds and mounds of fur all over the place.
Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
Dinovite is nutrition.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa.
Our vitamins and enzymes replace the nutrients cooked out of most commercial dog foods.
He gobbles it up. He's not up all night scratching. His shedding is minimal, and it is such a pleasure to have my calm, relaxed, non-shedding puppy back. And I have to thank Dinovite for that.
Don't let your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy.
Come to Dinovite for help.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. Do you operate a retail business and are looking for a solution for point-of-sale cryptocurrency acceptance? It's never been easier thanks to AnyPay.global. There's no paperwork or approval process to open an account. If you already have a tablet at your cash register, you're almost done. Just sign up at AnyPay.global, drop your personal wallet addresses in our setup page, and then load our app. That's it. You're accepting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin Dash at your store. Get started now at AnyPay.global. That's AnyPay.global.
Free Talk Live.
I was a pedestrian, and an asinine cop backed up and hit me and knocked me down to the ground. And I said, I think we need to call the police, as I'm, screaming in pain. And he said, go ahead, I'm a cop too. And he left the scene of the accident.
Oh, wow.
So when the police and the ambulance and all the paramedics arrived to take me to the hospital, because I have knee damage now and need knee replacements to both knees because of his actions. And I told him, I said, I'm a registered nurse. I work drug and alcohol rehab. This guy was drunk. I could see it. I could tell by his his actions. He was drunk. And I said, I want a blood alcohol done on him. They knew who he was. They waited 6 hours to go to his home to arrest him. And, of course, by then he had sobered up.
Sure.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern. Live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You dial in toll-free, take control of the airwaves here. Our number for you is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've also got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. Just jump into one of those rooms. We will get you on the air, and you'll sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us. And in the studio with you, it's Ian,
Melanie,
and Mark.
So Bitcoin.com, that is where you can go to learn about cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is, of course, where it all started. And over the last couple months and into early January, we're celebrating the 10th anniversary of Bitcoin. It has, as of October 31st, 2008, so more than a decade ago now. That was when the white paper was released. And then Bitcoin itself, the actual software was released, I think it was January 3rd, if I recall correctly, January 3rd of 2009. So basically like a three-month time frame, or two-month, I guess, time frame, where we can celebrate Bitcoin's birthday. And so go to bitcoin.com, because even though it's been a decade, in my opinion, we're still at the very beginning of cryptocurrency.
Yeah, if you were at the first 10 years of the internet, you'd be very, very early.
Exactly. And the first 10 years of the internet would have been like in the 80s, right? Like back when it was...
I don't know the entire...
most rudimentary system between colleges, right? It was initially...
My understanding is the internet is difficult to nail down.
As far as when it started?
Right.
Yeah.
That as soon as you decide that there's a time that the internet started, then somebody is going to disagree with you vociferously. Like the kind of disagreement where is it GIF or GIF? That kind of disagreement.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody's got a real opinion.
It's GIF, by the way.
I think I say GIF.
Yeah, it's GIF. But
the people that argue that it's
and we're not
GIF,
talking about the peanut butter, we're talking about the image type, right? GIF.
The people that argue that it's GIF make very good points.
Sure, no doubt. But I believe the creator of it has said that it was...
He pronounces
GIF,
it...
or GIF, rather.
Yeah, GIF. And the creator... But, I mean, is it possible the creator could have mispronounced the word that he just... I mean, I'm sure it's an acronym, right? Graphic,
probably, yeah.
Interface,
probably.
I don't know.
Something like that, yeah.
Photon?
You may be right.
That's not how you spell photon.
No, it's not photon.
Whatever it is, it's probably an acronym.
Yeah.
And the simple fact that the creator made an acronym does not mean that the creator pronounced the acronym correctly.
That's true.
There's really good arguments for on the GIF side, so much so that I have almost been convinced. However, I will never change my mind simply because it's too hard for me to change my mind. I've just been saying GIF too long.
All right. So as I was saying, you can go to bitcoin.com. You can learn more about Bitcoin there, cryptocurrency. In fact, there's the usual people who are touting the end of Bitcoin. But it bounced back a little bit today. Went back over $3,500 per Bitcoin. The altcoins are all up, it seems like. So
it's also December.
Well, are you saying that means something?
I'm saying people don't pay their bills in December half the time, so they also probably sell off investments.
So you're suggesting that
but
the
Bitcoin
price
spiked last December, like the 21st.
You're saying because they're selling off, the price should go down.
Yes.
Yes.
Right? Well, the price went up today. Is what I'm saying. It went up from 3,200
overall.
Sure, it's down over the last year, but it's also up overall. If you look at the entirety of Bitcoin's history, it's only down to around summertime 2017 levels at this point. So it is important to keep perspective and learn the basics over at bitcoin.com. In fact, speaking of Bitcoin, that's one thing that the government's going to have a tough time getting a hold of as far as asset forfeiture is concerned. Because they can only forfeit an asset, go through this court process on something they have physically taken from you, whether it be cash in a bank account, whether it be your truck or car, the thing that you're driving, the house in which you're living. As long as you don't give government easy access to your cryptocurrency, and here's how you do that, by the way, if you put your crypto in a wallet that you don't control.
Yes.
So if you put it into Coinbase, for instance, which is kind of like the big bank of cryptocurrency. If you put it into one of these online wallets where you don't have control of the keys to the wallet, but the place that you're putting it in has those keys, well, then the government can show up there and take the Bitcoin from you. But if it's in a private wallet, one that you control the keys to, as long as your keys are kept securely, then the government won't have access to it, and therefore they can't do asset forfeiture on it. Now, we're talking about civil asset forfeiture here, not the criminal side of it. There's criminal and civil asset forfeiture. In this case, we're talking about where they can go after houses, cars, all kinds of possessions. But finally, it looks like the courts are actually striking some of this stuff down. And now the U.S. Supreme Court is agreeing to take on an asset forfeiture case out of Indiana. The increased willingness of federal judges to consider the perverse profit incentives created by asset forfeiture, this according to Reason.com, together with the possibility of a Supreme Court ruling on the issue, raises a real question. Are we seeing the twilight of such programs in the United States? Is this the beginning of the end of asset forfeiture?
I'm thinking so. At this point, the public is thoroughly against it. Many states have outlawed it. You're finding politicians that run it, on it. And
is the public against criminal asset forfeiture, or is it just civil asset forfeiture?
I think that it's mostly so they hear the term asset forfeiture, but it's civil asset forfeiture is the worst part.
Mm-hmm.
Criminal asset forfeiture is I can make a pretty good case for it. Let's make a case here. All right, you've got $100,000. I pop you over the head with a club and take your $100,000.
Mm-hmm.
Now what's that? Robbery and aggravated assault, right?
Okay.
I then keep the $100,000 and I intend to use it to fight the court case against, well, the state and you. Presumably, you're a witness for it, and hire a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Should I be able to do that?
No, you should not if it wasn't your money in the first place.
Right. That's criminal asset forfeiture.
Is it, though?
That's kind of circular reasoning, though, because I have to determine that you're guilty in order to tell you that you can't hire a lawyer.
Right.
Okay. But isn't usually criminal asset forfeiture where they take drug dealers' money and stuff like that, where it's like legitimately earned money?
They will.
Like, how often is it what the situation you're describing?
I don't know.
Yeah, people, that, like, just direct theft isn't really that lucrative. And if it's, they're not going to spend...
Most thieves aren't stealing $100,000.
Yeah, they're not going to spend all that time and money and resources to go after the $200 that you stole out of somebody's car.
That's true. Whereas when you see the car driving down the road of a drug dealer, you ever seen this where the cops will like emblazon their logo on like a really sweet SUV or a fancy sports car or something like that, and it says, "We took this from a drug dealer because war on drugs," or whatever.
No guarantee that that's not civil asset forfeiture. But it certainly could be taken through criminal asset forfeiture too. And as long
do
as
you have to get a conviction before you do the criminal asset forfeiture?
As long as you've got the war on drugs, criminal asset forfeiture makes sense. The war on drugs is wrong, but criminal asset forfeiture is just a necessary part of it. You got to stop it, but you'd have to stop the war on drugs, not the criminal asset forfeiture.
Yeah, I hope we can see the end of the war on drugs in our lifetime. That would be wonderful. Unfortunately, it's a long road ahead of us. It's been brutally difficult to just end the war on marijuana, and that one we're still working on. 855-450-FREE. If you want to join us here, you can share your thoughts on asset forfeiture of either type. And are you a supporter of this? Is there anybody out there who supports civil asset forfeiture? It's Free Talk Live.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. So much fun, you'll forget you have a wife and kids. Makes the perfect stocking stuffer. Get your Bug Assault today and save $10 on the Bug Beam Laser Combo, only at bugassault.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Should you be able to earn an honest living free from senseless government interference? The Institute for Justice thinks so. That's why we've spent years defending hard-working men and women from pointless government regulations. Nationwide, IJ has created opportunity by reducing government power. But there is still more work to be done. Visit our website today at ij.org. Let IJ take care of the government so you can take care of your business.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. Talking about asset forfeiture, one of the awful things that the government does. They do a lot of awful things. Asset forfeiture is one of the worst. It results in people having their stuff stolen from them by these government bureaucracies, and then the stuff itself ends up having to have a court trial. Charges essentially brought against the stuff. We saw this happen here in Keene, New Hampshire, which is where we do the show from. Back in, I think it was 2014, a local shop got raided in downtown Keene. It was called Fat Stuff, P-H-A-T, Fat Stuff. It was a head shop that existed for a long time. It was originally in a different town in the region, and they moved into Keene and were very successful, successful enough to get a Main Street location and be open for a few years. And then all of a sudden, the DEA, the federal government, showed up in a multi-jurisdictional task force and basically stole every piece of, every bong, every pipe, every piece of hardware in the store. They left a few dugouts, one-hitters, and some rolling papers, I think, behind. But they took $100,000 in store inventory from these people, at least. And also took the dude's truck. They raided his bank account. And all of these things were taken from these folks without any kind of criminal conviction at all.
Well, there were charges.
There were charges, but the conviction didn't come until later. And the conviction was a plea deal in his case.
Well, it's almost always a plea deal. But you see,
and they ruined his business, and he shut it down.
Yeah, they ruined the family's life. I mean,
didn't they go through a divorce or come close to it?
That was a different family that you're thinking of.
Oh, okay.
That was, I don't believe that they've, but they, made things very, very difficult. Money stress will destroy a relationship. As I understand it, the family is still together.
Oh, good.
And but it's
just no longer doing the thing they did for a decade.
No, had to go out and find different work, and they found it very difficult. Hey, it was a job change that they were not expecting.
Right.
But it's
all their employees got fired because business closed.
Yeah, that may very well be criminal asset forfeiture that occurred there.
I think they started moving on that stuff before the conviction.
Yeah, well,
the idea behind criminal, correct me if I'm wrong, Melanie, is you have to have a conviction before you can go through criminal asset forfeiture. Isn't that not right?
I don't know.
I
know you don't need one for civil.
Correct. Daryl's nodding. He's saying yes in the background.
I would think you could just hold the items until the plea bargain goes through.
Yeah, I don't know.
As a matter of fact, they
We
confiscated.
could definitely hold it as evidence if nothing else.
Mhm.
Even silly things like cash that aren't evidence of anything.
Didn't they sell Ross Ulbricht's Bitcoin before the trial?
I don't remember the timetable there. Yeah. That's a good question.
Well,
I bet that's answered in the new documentary series Railroaded, which you can watch for free over at freeross.org. You're talking about the founder of the Silk Road, the world's first underground drug marketplace.
All I would say is that in the worst, most egregious civil asset forfeiture cases are when they take the money or take whatever the item is.
Mm-hmm. No charges.
And there's no charges against the person. They just, it's just a civil case against whatever the item is. And obviously,
the classic example is the old lady who takes all her money out of her mattress. She wants to go from one house to another, traveling somewhere. And she gets pulled over for whatever reason. The cops find her life savings. And I'm not making this up. This actually has happened at least once. I remember we talked about it years ago on Free Talk Live. Cops take her life savings from her, says, oh, this must be the proceeds of drug dealing. Now, we don't have any evidence you're an actual drug dealer.
Nope.
We're not charging you with being a drug dealer,
Nope.
but you've got tens of thousands of dollars here? Well, you must be a drug dealer. So that's ours now.
Basically just claiming that cash is evidence of a drug deal. Of course, they don't go after the Brinks truck.
No, yeah, exactly. Well, they're licensed. It's okay. They've paid the government so they can have a bunch of money. During the last 5 years or so, according to Reason.com, more than half of states have passed some form of asset forfeiture reform, including New Hampshire, limiting what was once a free-for-all cash grab benefiting law enforcement. In places such as Mississippi, the reforms were modest. New annual reporting requirements, for instance. New Mexico and Nebraska, however, now mandate criminal convictions before property is forfeited. Most states have landed somewhere in the middle, adding procedural protections for property owners and rebalancing the burden of proof in forfeiture hearings. Until recently, a major roadblock to all these reforms was Jeff Sessions. The former U.S. Attorney General rolled back Obama-era restrictions on asset forfeiture and emboldened state and local law enforcement to ramp up their seizures and bypass stricter state laws by partnering with federal authorities. How much longer that loophole remains open depends on Congress. But at the very least, you do have a case going to the Supreme Court, which, as they say here, is apparently a rarity. So what sort of precedent will that set? That remains to be seen. Hopefully we will get an update on this as that continues to develop.
We've got an old precedent, and we need a new precedent. So they got to kill the old precedent and get a new one.
Toll-free number here tonight, 855-450-FREE. Melanie, you had a story also sourced out of Reason.com, which is a great, mostly libertarian journalistic website. This one's about, is it just about killing cops or just killing all bureaucrats?
He was non-specific.
Okay.
So yeah, Reason did allow this to be published, which surprised me, and it's still up, which surprises me.
So this is fresh? Okay.
It's from... It was apparently originally in August 2017, but they reposted it like 2 weeks ago.
All right, let's hear it.
So it's called When Nonviolence Isn't Enough. The police demanded Habarb, a black man, step out of his vehicle. Dash cam footage shows that he calmly complied. Yet one officer immediately spun Hubbard around, bent his arm, and slammed him against his Hyundai. He flipped Hubbard again, punched him in the face, and kicked his groin. Hubbard screamed and put his arms up to protect himself. The other officers joined in.
Then started yelling, "Stop resisting."
Of course.
Inevitably.
They threw Hubbard to the ground, but continued to punch, hammer, and kick him. When he tried to protect his face, they chanted the informal motto of American police, "Stop resisting." Even when he was subdued, prostrate with his hands behind his
Prostrate.
back. Yeah.
This is prostate and prostrate. There's a big difference between those two.
With his hands behind his back and two large officers pinning him down, one officer continued to pummel his skull.
Jeez.
Lucky to be alive, honestly.
Is he alive?
It doesn't say.
Yeah, I don't know. He's not doing too well if he is, sounds like.
Usually you'll survive a beating.
I didn't see video of this. I don't know how intense it was. I mean, they're kicking him in the face or
That's
in the
not
head.
good.
So, yeah. Imagine you witnessed the whole thing. A thought occurs to you. You're armed. You could shoot the officers, perhaps saving his life or preventing him from being maimed and disabled. May you do so? Below, I defend a controversial answer. Yes, you may.
I would say morally, you may. Practically, it's a terrible idea.
Well, I'll tell you, if you walk up on an incident, you don't know the whole story, whatever it is.
Whether it's a bar fight between two strangers or a police officer arresting somebody.
There's no way to know the whole story. Now,
but what if you saw the whole thing?
I just don't think you can. Like, under no circumstances do you know the whole story.
What if you know Habar, you're the other person in the car, or you were following them, or
if
whatever?
You're involved, it's a different story, right? Like it changes the situation.
But I get your point. If you just happen upon a fight, then you don't know what's going on.
My best advice is you really shouldn't get involved if you don't know what's going on. It sounds like in this circumstance, the way they're telling the story, the way they're choosing to frame the story, clearly Habar is a victim of police brutality.
It's also the case that if you have one guy, especially if you saw the whole thing, but if you come across a guy who is handcuffed laying on the ground with two cops on top of him beating him in the head.
Yep. Sounds
There's
wrong to
no
me.
excuse for that.
It is knowing what police are. The odds that they were the aggressors are infinitesimally high.
Yeah,
I would say
agree.
the risk of mistake is abundantly reasonable at that point.
Even if the situation you're coming across where the cops are savagely beating a man who's in handcuffs, even if that guy was attacking the police before, then if you're a professional officer, once the handcuffs are on, that person is under control, basically. There's more coming up.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite.
Dynavite for life.
Pick up 2 tubes of Doggo Suds.
Get the 3rd tube free.
Peppermint, tea tree, lavender, Doggo Sud shampoo.
Made with all-natural coconut, jojoba, aloe. Great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
But no itchy, harsh chemicals.
Lather up, rinse away.
Try Doggo Suds. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynavite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
There are basically 2 types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio is great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Trading involves financial risk. It is not suitable for all investors.
Marijuana has unleashed a green gold rush across our nation. It's creating $10.8 billion in new wealth a year. And every day, it's transforming more and more Americans into millionaires. Former Speaker of the House John Boehner reveals how you could become one of them. Join him online for the American Cannabis Summit. Attendance is 100% free, but space is limited. Join online at www.acs2018.com. John Boehner and an esteemed panel will reveal which cannabis stocks are primed to deliver life-changing windfalls. Plus, they will show you how to become a cannabis angel investor, backing the hottest startups before they potentially become worth billions of dollars.
To join the American Cannabis Summit, visit acs2018.com or text JOIN to 76280. Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Text JOIN to 76280. Text JOIN to 76280 now.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Phones are open for you. Also, our Discord on-air call-in line rooms. If you want to sound like you're sitting here in the studio with us, just go to discord.lrn.fm and jump into one of those rooms there at the top of our list. And we'll join you there. In studio with you tonight, by the way, it's Ian.
Melanie.
And Mark.
Also, the toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. The Blink Home Security System special deal still going on through the 22nd of this month, where you can save up to a whopping 40% off of all of their outdoor XT and add-on cameras through December 22nd over at blinkprotect.com/FTL. These are great cameras, HD quality, run off of batteries. They're wireless, so you don't have to deal with running wires, which is a huge hassle when it comes to installing a typical security system. So you go to blinkprotect.com/FTL. You don't have to deal with any kind of ongoing payments, right? Like, a lot of these security companies, you got to pay monthly for monitoring and all that nonsense. In this case, you're the monitor because the Blink system sends you the clips when something's going on, when it detects something.
You can actually put one of these outside your front door, and then you see when somebody's, say, delivering a package or just somebody comes up and knocks on the door or whatever. You can communicate with these also. You can hear, get audio and that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, they're not two-way, but yes, you can hear what's going on, which I think that's an important thing to point out,
Is there
Mark.
a microphone too?
Yeah, that's how you can hear what's going on.
Yeah.
But there's not a speaker. You cannot talk back. But that's an important thing to point out, Mark, because most security systems, everyone I've ever seen, it's just video only. You don't get audio of what's going on. Right. So that's a really nice thing to have. And like I said, 2 AA batteries, super easy to replace those when they finally expire, which they do last up to 2 years. We've had ours, Mark, here at the studio, and you at your house as well for more than a year at this point, and they're going strong.
Yep.
So
you can put it up on the counter. So maybe you find out whether you catch the dog in the act of getting something off the counter, or the cat's not supposed to be up there or whatever.
We've definitely caught naughty animals with security systems before. Blink is an Amazon company, by the way. Blinkprotect.com/FTL. You go there to get that special offer right before Christmas. Again, the offer expires December 22nd through December 22nd or while supplies last. So if they run out, well, then sorry. There's no rain checks on this one.
Yep.
All right, we continue here. Melanie, you've got a story that is an opinion piece from Reason.com. Focusing on police abuse. It describes a situation in which a man is being severely beaten by police, a real-life situation, being severely beaten by multiple cops, even after he was put into handcuffs. And the author of the story asks the question, is it wrong? I mean, this isn't the exact question, but my summary of his question is it wrong to shoot the cops? Is it wrong to use violence against these aggressors who are obviously hurting somebody way beyond the call of duty? That's where we're at right here.
Yeah. And he says below, I defend a controversial answer. Yes, you may. Shooting the cops in this case is dangerous. They may send a SWAT team to kill you.
You're going to die.
Yeah,
they
very
probably
likely.
will.
Yeah.
And in many places, it's illegal. I'm not aware of anywhere it's not, but
yeah.
Okay. I guess he didn't want to make an absolute statement. But
well, there's that song, I shot the sheriff, but I did not shoot the deputy, that one, and the sheriff was coming after me, and he has a whole story as to why it's okay. I mean, I don't know.
How'd he do?
Is he singing this on the
Death Row?
Right, on the Hangman's platform? I'm not sure.
But it is nevertheless morally permissible, indeed heroic and admirable.
I agree.
You have the right to defend yourself and others from state injustice, even when the government agents act ex officio, I can't pronounce that, in their official capacity, and follow the law.
Now, we've talked about situations like this before, and I have said, because I don't support using... I don't think violence solves problems generally. I certainly don't think that killing the
I don't think
cops
it's going to solve this problem.
is going to solve this problem. I think that it's impractical in this case.
You're probably better off going, hey, fellas, you're on candid camera.
Yeah, that would help, having a visible camera showing that. But I had suggested
streaming through Cell 411 that you can get at getcell411.com.
It's a great
because
app.
that way it's putting the video online as opposed to
so
just on your camera.
They can take the phone
But
and they can break the phone, but the video's still
video's
there.
already out.
Right.
So that's important. Getting video of this stuff is the most important thing anybody can ever do. But I would not have a problem. And look, while I agree that it's morally permissible to come in with violence and shoot a cop in this circumstance, I don't think it's a good idea.
It's highly impractical.
But also, I think that if you're dealing with, like, there have been situations where there've literally been crowds of people, way more people outnumbering police, just watching while they savagely beat somebody. And I always thought, boy, wouldn't it be interesting if the whole crowd of people got involved
that has happened.
And stopped the violence from happening.
in places where
without
most
killing
people,
the cop.
in places where that's not always a decision that you have
in a crowd
at your
no
option.
Doubt. No doubt.
You can't say I'm going to hit you exactly enough to stop you, but to be sure that I'm going to stop you, but also sure I'm not going to kill you. That's not a real option.
But if you hit somebody, it's less likely to kill a person than shooting the person.
Shoot you in the head, yeah.
5 people, however, can grab just about anybody
and hold them
and stop them. And that's what happened. There is video I saw of the cops that were doing just what you were talking about. They were beating a man.
Was this on the playing field of a sports game?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And they were beating a man who was in cuffs, and the crowd of people all sort of, pulled the officer off.
Where was this?
I'm going to have to look it up during the break because I don't know.
This sounds amazing. Now, what I want to know is what happened to those people. Right, because then you're interfering with a police investigation or whatever. They're probably trying to come up with some BS.
You probably get an attempted murder charge, is what I've seen sometimes. And in places where the majority or approaching a majority of people do not like the police, that happens sometimes. Where there's a crowd of people, but there's a crowd of people who are actually against you accosting and beating to death random people.
And they stopped it. These people have stopped
at various
these beatings.
Success levels.
Yeah. I always thought it would be the most appropriate thing to do in that circumstance would be to have the crowd of people come in there, stop the psycho cop or cops from doing what they're doing, put them into their own handcuffs, and then leave them. And just everybody leaves.
Yeah.
And then get rid of the videos, because then they wouldn't be able to. Again, the video is going to work against you in that particular case, because they're going to use the video to try to identify you.
Then, again,
that video's got up online.
That's kind of also beside the point. So we have discussions about all kinds of issues where we ask, okay, is this a NAP violation or is this not a NAP violation?
NAP is the non-aggression principle.
And so does this violate the non-aggression principle or does it not? And most of the time, we never really have these asides of, well, yeah, but it's a bad idea, and here's 18 reasons why I think it's a more, like, we discuss whether or not we should legalize heroin, but we don't have any disclaimers there, and we discuss, prostitution and,
well, I don't think that
borderline fraud and all kinds of heinous things, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't have the disclaimer of like, okay, and by the way, don't shoot a cop. It's probably a good idea to actually say that, but I don't think we go as hard against any other issue.
I don't think you want to be on the radio and basically seen as encouraging something like that.
Right, yeah. So I'm not saying we shouldn't make it clear that we're not encouraging it.
Whereas if you get on the radio and say, end the war on drugs, I mean, that may be controversial for some people, but it's not, they couldn't come up with something to charge you with, I don't think, in that particular case.
Yeah, so I just feel like whether it's a good idea gets sometimes conflated with whether or not it's immoral in a way that nothing else really does.
Right, and you're right. I mean, it's an interesting discussion. It's one that is sort of part and parcel to, for lack of a better term, the libertarian experience. You know, there are people who feel very, very strongly about these issues. And the reality is, most of the sane ones, like you, Melanie, you know, you feel strongly when it comes to police and violence against the police. You don't oppose the use of it. You know, you're not going to feel sad if something bad happens to a cop. But at the same time, you know better. You know better than to advocate for it or to.
You shouldn't shoot cops for the same reason that you shouldn't shoot heroin. It's a bad plan.
Okay.
Well, I would say this is that police officers are, people doing jobs, and if they're doing something bad, then they deserve consequences for their actions, just like anybody else. There's nothing special about putting the uniform on. It's just clothing, and they've just got a job. If they're doing something good, which I presume they do most of the time, barring the fact that they accept, their checks are funded by tax dollars and taxation is theft. But barring that, if they're just doing, generally good things, then I don't see any particular problem.
Our toll-free number, if you want to join the discussion here, the toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Also coming up, protests outside of Amazon. At least one Amazon fulfillment center. We'll tell you what that's all about on the way. It's Free Talk Live.
Folks, this is very important information. What's to be said about CBD? AncientLifeOil.com. Our CBD is made from hemp and has 0.003 THC, which means this wonderful product won't get you high, no matter what amount you take. What does CBD do for the body? My hands are tied. But you can Google CBD benefits and be astounded. When you're finished reading, you'll want to log on to AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com and purchase. Life is good when you feel good. People are tired of pain. People are asking for non-GMO organic products to help them with, you fill in the blank. Legal in 49 states, and again, our CBD is made from hemp. Ancient Life Oil is about helping people one by one by one. If you wonder how good the product is, the CEO takes it every day without miss. AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Have a great day.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Lil Drums. Every bit as fun as a full-size Nestle drumstick cone and definitely cuter. Visit us at drumstick.com. Vacations are all about family time, but you don't have to leave home to have fun. Take 1 weekend a month and devote it to family activities. Pull out the board games and puzzles, serve up some treats, or have a picnic. Even without leaving home, you'll feel like you've really had some time away. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, December 17th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.61 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,240 per ounce. Zen is trading at $5, and the average price of Bitcoin is $3,441. Antiwar.com reports that Saudi Arabia issued a statement Monday morning condemning the U.S. Senate for a pair of resolutions calling them out for the murder of Jamal Khashoggi and blaming the Saudi crown prince. They called the Senate resolutions interference based on untrue allegations. The Thursday resolutions by the Senate included a call to end U.S. involvement in the Saudi-led war in Yemen, as well as the blaming of them for the Khashoggi murder. Saudi officials say they previously asserted that the murder of Saudi citizen Jamal Khashoggi is a deplorable time. Khashoggi was murdered in the Saudi consulate in Istanbul by a Saudi kill team. Saudi officials are complaining that the Senate noting this is a blatant interference in the kingdom's internal affairs, undermining the kingdom's regional and international role. The Saudis so far aren't doing anything but complaining, though they want to avoid any ramifications on the ties between the two countries that could have significant negative impacts on this important strategy relationship. Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spendabit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spendabit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co. Reuters reports election officials across Florida say they expect former felons to flock to their offices to register to vote next month when a newly passed ballot initiative launches one of the largest enfranchisement efforts in modern U.S. history. But partisan politics and logistical questions are clouding the January 8th rollout of a state constitutional amendment that could restore voting rights to more than 1 million ex-felons in Florida. Democrats and voting rights advocates cried foul this week when Governor-elect Ron DeSantis, a Republican and critic of the measure known as Amendment 4, said the Republican-controlled state legislature must first pass a law to implement the changes. DeSantis said, "I don't see any way around that. Regardless of whether you want it, you know, all to be implemented tomorrow, or whether you are trying to kind of frustrate it." Florida Democratic Party Chairwoman Terry Rizzo said in a statement calling DeSantis' move an act of voter suppression by Republicans who want to pick and choose who should have the right to vote. And State Senator Dennis Bexley, the Republican chairman of the Ethics and Elections Committee, agreed the measure largely could take effect without new laws. Democrats have celebrated the measure's passage as a civil rights victory, as well as a chance to expand the electorate in their favor in battleground Florida, the largest of the states that swing between parties in presidential elections. Florida has barred ex-felons from voting for 150 years. African Americans who favor the Democratic Party have been disproportionately affected by felon voter disenfranchisement. The measure, approved by more than 64% of Florida voters in November, states that felons' voting rights shall be restored upon completion of all terms of the sentence, with the exceptions for those convicted of murder or sexual offenses. Members of a bipartisan coalition that wrote the ballot initiative and campaigned for its passage are adamant that its language was designed to take effect without any further laws. Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They are working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform. The unique spelling of Horizon is a nod to their heritage and recognizes that they remain committed to the vision that their project was built upon. Their coin and ticker symbol remain ZEN. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community. HORIZEN.global. Antiwar.com reports at least 12 people have been killed and 25 wounded in and around the vital Yemeni aid port of Hodeidah as pro-Saudi forces clash with the Shiite Houthi movement and Saudi warplanes strike the area. All of this is raising concern after a successful week of peace talks in Sweden, which ended in a ceasefire deal, and growing concerns that the skirmishes might mean the ceasefire will not take hold. The UN and officials on both sides are downplaying that, however, saying that the official ceasefire deal has been put off a few days and will be implemented on Tuesday at midnight. That's the hope, at least. Violent clashes in Hodeidah have displaced thousands and are threatening the food supply for millions of Yemenis. Continued fighting in the lead up to the new deadline might get out of control and the ceasefire might never be implemented at all. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
After logging onto the Xbox One game console at one of his huge HD TV and a bunch of games his mom won't let him play, Cutler confirmed that he could recall only the faintest details about his friend, including the fact that his mother makes chocolate chip cookies and that he has a dog of some kind.
He's got Killer Instinct, Assassin's Creed, Battlefield 4, and Titanfall? Man, that game's awesome. Anyway, I've just been calling him Flamethrower because that's his gamer tag. Hopefully he doesn't catch on. Hey, can I stick around for a few more hours? I'm so close to beating this.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. We're launching into the second hour of the program. Coming up, protests surrounding Amazon this holiday season. They started on Black Friday or around Black Friday. I don't think we talked about it when that happened, but I did have show prep on it. So tonight, if we get the chance, we'll talk about they're continuing. More protests continuing outside of Amazon fulfillment centers. And if you want to comment, you're welcome to join us here. We've been discussing the idea of coming to the defense of a person, whether they're innocent or not, of whatever they're accused of, a person who's being beaten savagely by the police during an arrest, coming to their aid and stopping the beating with violence against the police, basically in the defense of the person who they're victimizing. And Melanie, you've got a story from Reason Magazine at Reason.com where their author says, yes, it is morally defensible. It is a moral thing to step in into a situation like this. You gave an example of a man who was savagely beaten and then further savagely beaten after they placed him in handcuffs. So I mean, if you want to claim that it was okay to beat the man before he was in handcuffs because he's resisting or fighting or something, which is, from what it sounds like in the story, BS, but we haven't seen the video.
Yeah, we don't know. I will say this, that I do think that if we allow the legitimacy of a government employee, period, which I'm willing to do in this, if we just leave that as a given, then yes, a police officer can employ fists and even kicks in the line of duty. I think that they are employed far too often, but I don't think that they're illegitimate.
Well, but that's kind of the question, though. That's kind of begging the question. So yes, if the initial force is legitimate, then you cannot, quote, defend against it. But if it's not, which is kind of the question, then you should be the question, then you can.
Well, I would say that the fists and kicks would only be retaliatory for violence being used against the police officer. That you can't always...
In an ideal circumstance, but in many circumstances, the cops are just being violent for the sake of being violent, because they can get away with it.
That's just an assault under the color of law.
Yeah, and it happens a lot.
Sure. No one's arguing that.
Let's go to Bad Slave. He's on the line in New Hampshire, listening online. Go ahead, Bad Slave.
Hi, and thank you for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
I think, and I don't know if you guys caught this because I had an interruption in the call, but the event where it was a soccer game where I think there was a guy, what do you call it, streaking, pulled his clothes off and ran across the field. And the police, there were three, four or five of them, gathered upon this guy right in the middle of the soccer field, and
the crowd came in
on him.
Right?
Yes, and the crowd came in, and
that's what I was referring to in the last hour.
And the cops left running.
Oh yeah, they skedaddled out of there fast, and I wonder if any of the crowd members ended up facing charges as a result of that. Although it wasn't clear in that video. Sorry. It wasn't clear in that video if it was cops or private security. It wasn't clear to me.
Well,
but either way,
they all wear uniforms, and I don't think technically there's any difference.
Cops and private security are vastly different.
Well, sometimes they actually are the same, because sometimes cops moonlight as private security. So in some cases,
they usually do it in uniform.
Well, okay, but if I'm a hitman and I moonlight as an author, being an author and being a hitman are still vastly different career choices.
But the case between security guard and cop they're not vastly different. They have the same task.
They have almost opposite task. Security guards protect private property at the bequest and payment of the property owner.
Yes,
and
however,
cops randomly commit aggression for
I agree with you. Generally,
reason.
Security guards are way less, offensive than the police. They're
dangerous.
From a libertarian thought.
A security guard isn't going to break into your house, say you have weed when you don't, and throw you in a cage in the back.
But even from just looking at the way security guards handle a situation, they handle it generally more professionally, with more of an eye towards not hurting somebody. In this case, you're giving an example, Bad Slave, of this sports game where whoever these guys were, The men who looked like potential cops, could have been security, whatever. They were being violent unnecessarily with this person, and the crowd had it.
Agree.
They came in and they put a stop to it. These guys got out as fast as they could.
And I think that any healthy crowd with the proper, moral outrage ought to employ these tactics. I don't necessarily want people dying or even hurt badly. I just want the violence to stop.
Yeah, I want that cop to live, to be able to reflect on his actions.
He's not going to go home and reflect on his actions.
How do you know that?
It is highly unlikely.
The most police, after they've been on the job for, I don't know, some number of years, whatever it is, for them to get hardened, are people that have made a choice to operate the way they do. Now, our understanding, of course, is that the police is they're doing supposedly the job of government servants that are intending to protect rights, correct? Just as our statement of intent at the Free State Project indicates that the maximum role of civil government is for the protection of life, liberty, and property, in that order. And I mean, if what cops did was that truth, then, we wouldn't have much of a problem.
Yeah, nobody would have any objection to that.
I would have an academic problem almost with, the way they get paid. But I don't go, nobody ever wrote a song called F the Fire Department, and I don't go on the radio talking about how it's okay to kill librarians, because it's not. The fact that they're aggressors is the issue, not, where their paycheck comes from.
Bad Slave, thank you for the call tonight. Appreciate hearing from you. Speaking of F the Fire Department, there's a man, recent news actually is from a few days ago, a man facing jail time for blasting the song F the Police and allegedly violating Pontiac's noise ordinance was found not guilty by a jury. An anonymous person on the jury said, "Why am I here? This is a waste of my time. You know, that type of deal, knowing that I'm innocent." I'm sorry, that was the defendant who said that.
I was going to say, a juror that understood that it was the government wasting their time and not the defendant? Why? But be still my beating heart.
Webb faced a $500 fine and 93 days in county jail after playing NWA's F the Police right next to an Oakland County Sheriff's deputy conducting a traffic stop on
Was it on the
else.
oldies station?
Quote, "You got people standing out
it's
here."
Probably on a CD or iPhone.
So the officer said to him at the time, "You got people standing out here and you're playing F the Police because I'm sitting right here, right? I don't care if it's any other rap song. He's dropping the F-bomb and cursing and swearing. Nobody wants to hear that," said the officer. Nicholas Somber.
I will agree that it's rude.
The attorney, well, it's also rude to do what the cops do every single day, so they deserve it. Quote, "The police officer's reasoning..."
that using the F-bomb in front of a bunch of people is rude. I mean, end of story. Now, if there was another song that was as widely known that was, "The police are a violent monopoly," or whatever, right? Like, you wouldn't have me complaining.
Lame version.
It is a lame version.
If I'm getting arrested by the cops and some dude comes by blasting F the Police, I am going to put a big smile on my face, and it will make my day. That will be the best arrest that has ever happened.
And you've had some arrests to compare it to.
I have for civil disobedience. Nicholas Somberg represented Webb in court. He said the police officer's reasoning was that he said the music was vulgar, and part of the vulgarity was that it used the F word. But we had on video that the first man the officer had pulled over, the officer is dropping F-bombs with him.
Yep.
So why is it okay for the man to hear the F word, but not other people?
And an officer should never be, should only be using the F word in the line of duty while quoting someone.
All right, there's more on the way here. The toll-free number, 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Jury took 9 minutes to come back with their not guilty verdict.
That's fast.
That's awesome. We're coming up. This is Free Talk Live.
From the first letter of Captain Mark. History is full of flowery documents claiming to limit the power of the crown. But these poetic social contracts have been impotent to prevent the predation. Limited government is a lie they use to keep us submissive. The Crown cannot be trusted to abide by its founding charters, nor its treaties, nor even its own rules. The essence of the Crown is centralized violence, and I've had enough. That's why I raised my black banner. I am no revolutionary. My aim is not to reset the cycle of violence, but to break it. My aim is an evolved society, invisible to the Crown, not a new hierarchy, but decentralized networks with no central figure for the Crown to target. If you want your servile life, keep it, but we will not submit to the Crown's agenda. And when you are ready to stop being its beast of burden, ready for adventure and opportunity, join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
When do you want to spot that burglar? When he's casing your home or after he's in? Ask John, whose Blink camera alerted him of burglars trying to break in while his family was home. Or Shannon, whose Blink camera caught a package thief. Blink motion-activated cameras are wire-free, set up in minutes, and run on 2 AA batteries that last up to 2 years. Save up to a whopping 40% off all add-on cameras and systems through December 22nd while supplies last. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveatpurse.com.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You dial toll-free here and bring up whatever you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE. We're talking about police violence and what people can do morally versus practically. And is there a middle ground? I think there is. I think there's the middle ground of, instead of going all, starting to shoot cops or whatever, which some people advocate for, right, which I think is a terrible idea, to have a crowd of people witnessing police violence, step in and stop it. Just put a stop to it using overwhelming numbers to the point where, even if they did charge the crowd, in that circumstance, if the cop wasn't actually harmed in any meaningful way, like, the cop's beating on somebody, crowd steps in and physically restrains him to stop him from beating, and then they just physically restrain him further by, putting him in his own handcuffs, throwing him in the back of his own car, and leaving him there. Well, the cop, maybe his feelings got hurt. Maybe he got a little hungry while he was waiting for his buddies to come let him out of his handcuffs. But otherwise, no real damage done to the officer besides his hurt feelings in that case. I think it would be hard to get
charged with interfering. You're going to be charged with
they'll charge
interfering
with
with
everything.
an arrest. You're going to be charged with kidnapping.
Yeah,
You're going to be charged with probably aggravated kidnapping.
No doubt.
You're going to be. In some
But you
places, you're
won't
going to
be
get
dead.
charged for attempted murder.
But you won't be dead.
That's not necessarily true. You don't know that.
Well, usually...
If you start restraining a cop who's in the process of arresting someone else, who's to say they're not going to shoot you?
Well, he could kill you. There's no doubt about that. I was saying that the crowd would successfully overpower the officer, so there's clearly risk involved in stepping into an ongoing fight with a psycho cop. But if the cop were to survive the encounter, the cop were to live through it and, not have anything harmed except for his feelings.
Which you don't have any say in if you're one person in this crowd.
And then that's true. Then they bring you up on charges like you're suggesting, and they certainly would. Maybe you could beat it at a jury. Maybe a jury would agree and be like, yeah, there's a reason this crowd stepped in. This cop was out of line. Jury nullification.
You're going to be looking at an effective life sentence.
Yeah, that's possible. But I want to know, in these circumstances, where this has happened, where crowds have stepped in.
I've been trying to find a video.
You couldn't find it,
and I couldn't find the video that I was recalling, other than the one that you were talking about on the sports ball field there.
Right, and that was in Europe, I think. Right,
yeah, I think so.
So, if anybody's got any real examples of what has happened to crowd members who've been involved in these stoppings of the cops, that's just all I'm saying is it's a middle ground, right? Like you've stopped the violence, but you haven't actually escalated. You haven't killed the cop in that particular case.
If you engage in violence, you really have very little say as to whether or not it escalates. So people kind of make up these almost mythical situations where you can just decide how much violence there's going to be.
No, you're right. You can't. If somebody in the crowd decides to start, if you put the cop in handcuffs and then somebody in the crowd decides to start wailing on him.
Or if the cop starts shooting at you, then what are you going to do? Like, you can't decide how much your opponent is going to escalate violence.
Yeah.
And
that's true.
Then you have to. The only thing you can decide is if
you
you're
need to have enough people to grab
the
cop to where you can't shoot.
That's why I say, get out the camera, get out the phone.
That's the safest route.
Get cell
they can shoot you for that too.
They're very unlikely to.
There are examples. Let's just be clear. There's risk involved here. I'm not going to tell somebody don't record a video, but if you pull out a camera, there have been cops who have said, that looks like a gun. Bam. And then you're dead.
Well, there have been cops that say, that could be a gun. I haven't seen
No,
yet
there
on
have been
camera.
people who've been killed for having a video camera because the cop claimed they thought it was a gun. In fact, there was even one video where the cop says out loud, I'm going to think that's a gun. He actually says what he would normally, he should have kept those thoughts quiet. I think he was speaking his thoughts out loud. I'm going to think that's a gun. Like, he obviously knew it wasn't, but spoke to the person to inform them that he was going to treat it like it was.
Change his mind, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was a crazy situation.
Well, that was what I was talking about, because I saw that same thing.
Yeah, so filming, especially if you're streaming, can be a lot lower risk, although you could still be shot dead. I don't think that trying to restrain a cop is any more strategically sound than just outright offing them.
Well, we're going to have to agree to disagree on that one. Let's continue.
No, I think it's a terrible idea to get involved physically in it. Yeah. Just don't do it.
I'm not saying it's a good idea. I'm just saying I love the idea of when it actually happens, and it has happened. I think it's awesome. I think it's amazing that people actually would do something about out-of-control cops rather than just stand and watch. I'm not saying it's wrong to stand and watch. I think that's the best thing you can do if you've got a video camera to hold some of these cops accountable, because that may end up down the line resulting in them getting fired. Probably won't result in any criminal charges because cops almost always get away with, these savage beatings or whatever, so there's very rarely any kind of real consequences for them. But at the very least, it looks bad for the cops when video like that gets out. So yes, I agree with you. Video recording, your best bet in that particular circumstance, but it's all risky. Getting involved at all in these circumstances, whether it is as a videographer or stepping in, there's some level of risk there. So you do have to understand that going into it. I would never tell you you're completely safe pulling out video cameras around the police. That said, I think generally you're better off for having it, Because if you don't have a video camera, if you don't record out of fear of what might happen, the cop might steal the camera, they might break the camera, they might arrest you, they might trump up some charge, they might hurt you. These are all things that could kill you, that could happen because you bring out a video camera. I still say do that because overall the results are more positive. Overall, bringing out a camera on the police tends to change their behavior for the better. They tend to act better when cameras are out, but there are exceptions to that rule. So just be aware of that. Let's go to the phones here. We got Justin. He's in New York and listening online. Go ahead, Justin.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, subscribe to PewDiePie. And also, I wanted to ask you about the 2020 presidential election. Do you think the Libertarians could nominate somebody who's actually a principled Libertarian in 2020? Or do you think they're just going to... Do you think there's any chance they could do that, or do you think it's for sure that they're just going to nominate another Gary Johnson who's just going to, who's like not really a libertarian, but has status?
It's not for sure, but I wouldn't bet on it.
Yeah, I mean, if you go by past performance, then they've nominated crappy presidential candidates the last 3 times. 2008, 2012, 2016, their candidates were awful. And they were not principled libertarians at all. So if that trend continues, then they will do the same thing in 2020.
Gary Johnson got more votes than any other libertarian.
Doesn't matter. He wasn't an actual libertarian.
I'm only
saying
a truth.
Would have gotten as many votes as Gary Johnson.
That is an inaccurate
Jill Stein
statement.
Also got 3 times the amount of votes. It doesn't mean that everybody
Jill Stein
agreed
is not
with
a
her.
monkey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying that doesn't mean that everybody who voted for her agreed with what she had to say. Those candidates, Jill Stein and Gary Johnson, did 3 times as well in 2016 as they did in 2012. The same exact candidates. And it's not because they were better covered or they had better name recognition. It's because people hated Trump and Hillary.
Yes.
They voted for the Libertarians because of that. Even the Libertarians that were running on the local elections in New Hampshire did better in 2016. So they didn't have anything to do with the presidential election. But the Libertarian candidate in New Hampshire for governor did well enough to get the party ballot access, which they subsequently lost this year.
I will grant you that. If you will grant me that some people voted for Gary Johnson because he was Gary Johnson and would not have voted for whomever this principled libertarian candidate might have been.
Who cares? The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. The reason why that doesn't matter, Mark, is because the libertarian candidate should be advocating for the ideas of liberty, not some watered-down half-assed crap. More coming up. You can take control of the airwaves here. This is Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
You may need this herbal tea for relief right away, so write this down. DRMILLERS clinic.com. If you take meds, then suffer stomach distress, constipation, indigestion, acid reflux, and bloating, and nothing else helps, get Dr. Miller's Holy Tea or Super Holy Tea, a cleansing, detoxifying herbal tea now available at great rates direct from Dr. Miller's office. Call or click 888-660-7039 or DRMILLERS clinic.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. You dial toll-free and join us here if you'd like. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. Hey, if you're an individual who rejects the initiation of force and agrees to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle, there aren't very many of you out there, but if you are out there, you belong over at liberty.menu. It's a tool for the libertarian, voluntarist, anarchist community, people who love peace and liberty. It's essentially at its core a directory for events, businesses, and digital content. So whatever it is that you create, whatever it is that you do, if you want other liberty-minded folks to know about it, you ought to be listed over at liberty.menu. It's a global map of little pinpoints showing people and the things that they do. And again, if you create content, you can list that. If you're an events coordinator, you can list your events. And if you've got a business or more than one business, you can list those too. And the listings are free. They can be rated and reviewed. There's a bit of a social networking aspect as well, so you can connect and share with others. Liberty.menu, it's free to use, so why not go check it out over at Liberty.menu. Great URL, super easy to remember that. And when you create your account, you can use code FTL on your user profile later, and you can get a special badge to show that you're a Free Talk Live listener. Liberty.menu. As we continue here, Justin still on the line with us in New York. You had this question about the libertarians in 2020. Could they nominate somebody who's actually principled? Somebody like Darrell W. Perry or Ron Paul or maybe Adam Kokesh. I know Adam is actually trying to get that nomination. Longtime guest here on Free Talk Live, sometime occasional co-host in the past. That he is running for what he's calling not president. And so I know he's thrown his
I'm sure they want to, they're just falling all over themselves to nominate somebody for president who wants to be not president.
I love it. I think it's great. It's better than having somebody pretend like they can win the election as a libertarian candidate.
I think that Kokesh has got things going for him, but I'm not fool enough to believe that he doesn't have things against him.
Because the point is to run a candidate. Now, I say this as somebody who has resigned from the Libertarian Party out of frustration over this back in 2008, mind you. But the point was supposed to be that the party would run candidates who could explain the ideas of liberty, who could explain the non-aggression principle, the idea that it's not okay to use aggressive force against our neighbors, and that aggressive force has unintended consequences. The party at one time had candidates like this. Harry Brown, for instance, the guy that brought me into the ideas of liberty, he was a great candidate because he had answers for every issue that were principled at their core and he communicated them beautifully. Unlike this Gary Johnson, who is a very nice man, but he was an awful candidate because he didn't communicate anything about the non-aggression principle. Go ahead.
Well, two things. First of all, I think, in terms of people that had, answers that were, principled, or could come up with an answer for everything, but was still principled, I think a candidate who might be good at that, but probably wouldn't get the nomination would be Larry Sharpe. And second of all, speaking of people who are very nice people, but are not libertarian in any way, I'm unfortunately hearing that Joe Walsh might run as a libertarian.
Wasn't he a Republican talk show host or something? Who is Joe Walsh?
Yes, and I've talked to him a few times. He's a nice guy, but he's not a libertarian.
Wasn't he on television?
Isn't this the singer? My Maserati goes 185.
Is it that Joe Walsh?
Yeah, him.
The singer?
Well,
wow.
He voted for he voted to extend the Patriot Act.
Oh,
so
God.
I think that goes to show you how libertarian he is.
Yep.
And again, I've talked to him. He's a very nice man, but he's
politicians
not a
Right, but it doesn't matter if he's a nice person.
Right.
I know plenty of nice people who I would never allow into any libertarian organization, even if I'm friends with them or not.
Politicians,
because they're not libertarians.
Correct. And politicians are great at being nice. They want you to like them. They will lie to your face and act nice.
Yeah.
So just because a politician's being nice doesn't mean anything, really.
Yeah.
Hey, one other thing, Justin. You opened your call up by saying people should subscribe to PewDiePie. That is a YouTube channel, very popular channel of a dude from, Scandinavia who plays video games on a stream? Sweden.
Sweden is in Scandinavia. Congratulations, both of you.
Why would you suggest that? What makes his channel so great? I mean, are you a big fan?
Well, first of all, he posts some of the greatest memes and some of the freshest content. But the reason I'm saying that is because he's the most subscribed person on YouTube. But there's this channel in India called T-Series, which is trying to surpass him as the #1 most subscribed YouTuber. So a bunch of people have been doing all these things to try and keep him the most subscribed YouTuber. There's a guy.
Nobody stays on top forever.
Yeah, well, somebody was buying all these ads in his neighborhood saying subscribe to PewDiePie, and there was even a guy who actually paid $1 million for a billboard in Times Square.
How come we can't have fans like this, Mark?
My God. This guy plays video games?
Yeah, he does.
I'm out here advocating for human freedom, and somebody's paying $1 million for a billboard for this guy?
It's insane. We're over here agonizing. We have our ministers meeting behind the scenes every week between you, me, and Daryl, and we're agonizing over how to spend $500 in a month on advertising to promote the show.
That's what our budget is right now.
We're trying to figure out how to get
ads.
somebody to cut up a video for us without paying too much money for it. So it's just, hey, thanks, Justin. I appreciate the call tonight. But yeah, Mark, hey, that's the new world that we're living in here, where somebody can literally make millions of dollars by playing video games online. And I've seen I happen to know who the guy is because I used to watch.
I've even heard of him.
Yeah, I used to watch more regularly the React series, and there was a couple of them where they would have people, react to him reacting, and I guess one of the reasons why he's popular is because he's got good reactions. Like he's animated, right? Like he'll shriek or scream or whatever when things happen. And he's silly.
Yeah, my son listens to these people playing video games.
Does he follow PewDiePie?
I don't know.
Okay.
Video games online.
Yeah,
and
it's huge for young people to do
that. It's a talk show on one hand, right? Like these people are talking and that sort of thing.
They talk through the game.
It talks through the game, and on the other hand, it's annoying as hell. I mean, just god awful as a parent
have someone talk over a game annoying, or what's annoying about it?
I mean, in the inanities that these people are babbling on about, and then random just hollering. I mean,
video games is not really a spectator sport. I'm not a fan of spectator
sports.
It is now. Anyway.
Yeah, it is now.
They have what they call esports now.
Yeah, well, they shouldn't.
And I love gaming. I grew up with gaming. I'm a child of the 80s and the 90s. I grew up when gaming grew up,
basically.
I
also like reading books. That doesn't mean I want to sit there and watch somebody else read a book.
No, I'm not saying that I agree with the esports. I think it's silly. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. My critique of this is the people who are into esports, I presume, At one time, they were into video games in the past, right, when there weren't such a thing as esports. And I bet you a bunch of them criticized the sports fans. I bet you a bunch of them were like, sports, blah, blah, blah. Well, now they're doing the same thing as all the sports fans out there. They've got their favorite team. They've got their, events that they go to because they actually have esports stadiums being built.
Yeah.
Right now, these exist, and they will attract tens of thousands of people into the stands who will watch on giant, big screen, jumbotron televisions their favorite players play video games.
Yeah, I mean,
that just sounds like somebody sat down and was like, "How can I waste time the most?" With getting the least out of it.
And
then they came up with watching someone else play video games.
They've got stats too, right? Like all the sports fans, Joe Montana passing for X number of yards in 1990, like he won the Super Bowl or whatever. And then you probably have the same people for the video game fans, Geek number 1 playing Doom with, I don't want to dig into the world to find out how bad it is, but I bet you it's exactly the same.
I don't want to know how high I would have to be before that would even be mildly entertaining.
Watching somebody competitively play a game?
Yeah. Well, look, I feel the same way about lots of other pastimes, but...
it's a pastime. Everybody's got their hobby. Hey, whatever it is that floats your boat. I'm not saying don't do it. If you enjoy it, man...
Yeah,
grab your
there's
friends.
nothing wrong with it,
right,
but it's just...
I'm just saying I don't get it.
Atrociously boring and annoying.
It just doesn't float my boat. I love video games, and I can understand why somebody would want to watch someone else play a game. So, I get that. I've done that. I've watched people react to video games, and I do it on our channel sometimes every now and then. I'll be the player of those games. And in that case, it makes sense because, well, maybe you don't want to play the whole game. Maybe you just want to watch a piece of it. Maybe you want to see what it was like. We're coming up here. It's Free Talk Live without paying for it.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, the inventor of MyPillow, and like all of you out there, I had problems sleeping. Pillows would go flat, I would flip-flop all night long, I would wake up with a sore neck, maybe a headache, or feel like I needed a nap even though I slept 8 hours. When I invented MyPillow, I wanted it to where you can move the patented fill to give you the exact support you need as an individual, regardless of sleep position. MyPillow will get you into that deep sleep faster, and you will stay there longer. It's not about how much time we spend in bed, it's about how much of that quality sleep we get. I do all of my own manufacturing right here in the United States. I have a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry MyPillow, and I give you a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose.
And here's Mike's best offer ever. MyPillow is now offering 50% off their 4-pack special plus free shipping. Go to MyPillow.com or call 800-951-5617 and use promo code FTL. That's 50% off plus free shipping. Don't delay. Order now.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
We know you've had Dragon's Breath in the morning, but you've got to experience Dragon's Breath at night. Wolf Hill Ammo's Dragon's Breath, an incendiary shotgun round in 12 gauge, 20 gauge, and a 410 with an amazing muzzle flash and a fireball that launches up to 125 yards. Pure fun to shoot. At Wolf Hill Ammo, we love shotguns and offer the best specialty shotgun ammo on the market. Visit wolfhillammo.com to see our large selection of specialty shotgun ammo at great prices with flat rate shipping. wolfhillammo.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless free market non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can dial in. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. The last time we talked about this esports thing, it was, I forget which city it was, but, you know, a lot of places, these governments build convention centers and then they fail completely because they're run by governments. We've talked about these things in the past.
Right.
Well, apparently one of these convention centers, I don't know if again, I don't remember which city, it was somewhere out west. In one of these cities, somebody went in there and gave them a bunch of money and turned it into an esports stadium. And there's one that's ostensibly being built in Las Vegas, which will be like the biggest esports stadium ever. And, you know, again, whatever it is that floats your boat, man, if you like watching football, if you like playing, watching esports, that's cool. I just don't get it. At least I can understand people playing football because then there's like an actual feat of human,
Playing, yes. It's the watching. And I don't really understand people watching sports ball either. Although at least with sports ball, there's not the almost background track of what kind of sandwich did I eat yesterday?
Well, look, I may not care for it myself, but I can understand it. I can understand why people watch sports. It's a spectacle. It's humans doing things that are relatively hard to do in a competitive atmosphere, and people get caught up in that. Like, that makes sense. There's an actual feat. That man's jumping and catching a ball, right? Like,
well, being good at a video game is also a feat. I mean, these people are
not in the same way, dude.
Of having that time to invest.
Yeah, all you're doing is, look, I realize you got to practice to be good at catching a football, and you got to practice to be good at playing Street Fighter. But there's a huge difference between playing Street Fighter and getting in the boxing ring, right?
Sure, there is.
Right. So, like, we're talking about a gulf of a difference in
you wouldn't want a boxer to drive in the Indy 500 either. Are
you trying to tell me that playing a video game is tantamount to being a professional sports person in any other physical activity?
I am saying that it shows that the people that do this do have a they're wired differently, the same as athletes are. Look, there's nothing I could have done at any point in my life to have ever been a professional athlete, and I don't have the reaction time to have ever been an esports guy either.
Yeah, but look, I realize there's plenty of people in professional sports or people who aren't in professional sports that maybe wanted to be, right? They got their little league team, and then they went into whatever comes after little league, and they tried to get to high school and get out into, and then they didn't get picked for the college team, and then their sports career ended in that moment, right? So there's certainly been plenty of people who've tried, and certainly that's going to be true of gaming. But look, the fact is, anybody who plays video games, as long as they're not broken as far as their reaction times are concerned. Any young person who grows up playing video games is going to be good at it. If you spend 12 hours a day playing Counter-Strike, you're going to be better than if I sit you down in front of Counter-Strike, Mark, and try to have you play against somebody who plays 12 hours a day.
Right.
So these guys are pros. They spend their time playing video games and probably spent their whole lives playing video games.
I disagree with
It's
your
not as
assessment.
Impressive to me.
No, I'm sorry.
And I don't like sports. It's not as impressive to me as real
There's plenty of people that play Counter-Strike 12 hours a day who are not professionals because they
That's just because they didn't get into.
They're
didn't
not
get into
good
that.
enough.
That's not true.
They're just not good enough. Look,
There's probably plenty of 12-year-olds who can pwn these.
You don't know
these
a
guys.
thing about sports, okay? Like you're just going off of what's going on in your head. You know nothing about sports. I played enough sports to tell you that there are people with just better reaction times.
Yes.
Okay,
I don't doubt
I
that.
played handball against this guy that should have been a gunfighter. Okay, like he's the Doc Holliday. That's just like that kind of speed, and that kind of reaction time is going to make you better than
I
somebody
don't doubt that.
who practices.
I'm not saying that everybody's
just
the
as
same.
much.
Okay, I'm not saying that everybody's the same, Mark, but I'm telling you, in the world of video games, there's so many gamers who are so good and talented. The idea that these are the best players in the world, in my opinion, is ridiculous.
Okay. Well, you can have your
and
opinion.
how can you really tell? Right? Because they don't get the chance to go up against the 12-year-old who's been playing Counter-Strike for 12 hours a day for the last 3 years or whatever. They don't get a chance to go up against him. He's probably too young to compete in these sports. Now, look, I don't know what I'm talking about here. I'll make that clear. I don't spend any time watching this, so if you're listening, you're like, esports this and that, you're welcome to call in. Our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. But I'm sorry, I don't think it's a feat to be able to say, I've got better reaction time. I can swing a gun in Doom faster than somebody else can. Well, that's nowhere near being able to take on, Muhammad Ali in a boxing ring.
Fine.
Sorry.
Is bowling not a sport too?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
There are people who are very good at bowling.
People make a living.
There are people who are very good at being a property attorney. That doesn't mean it's a sport.
I'm more impressed by a good bowler than I am esports
Fine.
players.
That's just your level of how impressed you are.
Yeah.
However, if you want to make a distinction between a sport and a game, fine. You could make that distinction wherever you want. But if we're going to call
sports are
and
competitive games, basically. They usually involve physical activity. But now they're changing that to being pressing buttons is a physical activity.
If you want to make the distinction that a sport involves a physical feat versus a game, that we can parse that out however you want to define it. However, these are games. At the very least, we can agree that they're games, and we can agree that some people physically have more talent, and some people have trained harder, whether training means playing a video game or not, and therefore they're better. If there's an industry surrounding it, by God,
I think it's amazing that they're making money. God bless them. They can make money off of playing video games. I think it's wonderful. I think that's great. And you know what? Do whatever you want to do. But definition number 1 of sport in the dictionary is an athletic activity requiring skill or physical prowess and often of a competitive nature. And then they give examples of things that are actually athletic and require skill of a physical nature. I don't think pressing buttons on a joypad counts as a physical skill.
Well, I would say that I can make an argument against it, but I don't care. Like I've made the argument that baseball, since you don't sweat, isn't a sport.
You don't think people sweat in baseball?
Doing what?
They run around the bases.
Yeah, how are you going to sweat running from one base to the next? I mean, it's not even that far.
You're right. Baseball isn't the most physically athletic game, but it is athletic. You're still throwing balls and swinging bats and running around.
There's not much sweat that's going on unless you're just standing out in the sun.
Doesn't matter. Sweat's not required.
Okay, I've made the argument that it is soccer. There's a sport for you. These people are running around all the time.
No doubt.
But you can't argue that the ability to throw a baseball at 95 miles an hour is a singular ability. Like it's very difficult to be able to pull that off.
There was that pitcher who took acid that one time. Remember that story?
I know
where
nothing about what you're talking about.
There's some pitcher.
I feel like I'm talking to Joe Rogan.
In the 1970s.
Hey, have you ever tried DMT?
No, dude. Seriously, there's a real story. I don't know the dude's name, but if you just look pitcher acid.
Yeah, I imagine you probably
The dude pitched a no-hitter. Okay. Talk about being in the zone, right? Like he was tripping in the 60s or 70s. It was back in those days, and he threw a no-hitter. Like that's a hard thing to do, right? as a pitcher.
You could probably, yeah. It's an incredible feat. Sure.
Pretty amazing.
So the ability to throw a ball at 95 miles an hour, the ability to line up 3 strikes in a row.
Not even close to playing Doom on a joypad or a computer
If
keyboard.
you can beat the best, you're the best. That's all.
Okay, man. I played in a Doom tournament when it was in the 1990s and I was a teenager.
Great.
And I finished, I think it was second place in that tournament. And I didn't think I was like the best player in the world or like I deserved a contract
Florida and a LAN
or
party.
Whatever. It was actually at Gulfgate Mall.
Great.
So it was
it's a LAN party.
It was in front of people watching. Ooh.
Look, in 6th grade, I was the chess champ. I beat all the other kids in chess.
Not a sport either.
I wouldn't claim it was.
Okay.
I would claim it's a
game. Are you
game.
claiming esports is a sport?
Yes.
Why is chess not a sport, but esports is?
Because there is
they have teams?
Physical attribute that makes you good at chess. You could have no ability to move your arms and legs. It's all mental. So it's a strategic game.
You have to pick the thing up and move it on the chessboard.
No, you don't. You could have somebody do it for you.
So you're saying that because somebody can punch in a joypad, that therefore that makes it a sport?
Look, that there are neuromuscular pathways that are built in these patterns that one has to push in to do stuff. And yes, reaction time matters. So yeah, I'll give it sport.
No, Free Market Penguin says I'm not so subtly trolling the Twitch audience. Look, I'm not. I get the Twitch thing. I think that's different than esports. It's a different level of it. It's just more of a casual thing of like, oh, it's got some. Rather than watching television, people are now watching Twitch.
Yeah,
and they're watching somebody else play a video game because that other person is entertaining. In probably most cases.
Right, they're talk show hosts, which...
Singular, lone, yeah.
The very fact that I am willing to give these designations to talk show hosts. This is my competition, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, and they're whipping us.
Right, they're whipping the heck out of us. To me, the idea that you would listen to someone talk about video games rather than talk about, things that are happening in the news and the relevance of your human freedom, to me, is mind-boggling.
Yeah, and way more people want to watch video games.
But it's
huge.
True. Somebody bought a billboard for PewDiePie for $1 million.
There's millions.
They're not doing that for us.
There's millions of people streaming on Twitch, let alone the millions and millions more that are actually watching those streams. So it's huge. Everybody gets to be their own star of these things these days. And we got 18 viewers. More coming up. Free Talk Live.
Trading involves financial risk. It is not suitable for all investors.
Marijuana has unleashed a green gold rush across our nation. It's creating $10.8 billion in new wealth a year. And every day, it's transforming more and more Americans into millionaires. Former Speaker of the House John Boehner reveals how you could become one of them. Join him online for the American Cannabis Summit. Attendance is 100% free, but space is limited. Join online at www.acs2018.com. John Boehner and an esteemed panel will reveal which cannabis stocks are primed to deliver life-changing windfalls. Plus, they will show you how to become a cannabis angel investor, backing the hottest startups before they potentially become worth billions of dollars.
To join the American Cannabis Summit, visit acs2018.com or text JOIN to 76280. Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Text JOIN to 76280. Text JOIN to 76280 now.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin. mymagicmud.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, December 17th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.61 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,240 per ounce. Zen is trading at $5, and the average price of Bitcoin is $3,441. Antiwar.com reports that Saudi Arabia issued a statement Monday morning condemning the U.S. Senate for a pair of resolutions calling them out for the murder of Jamal Khashoggi and blaming the Saudi crown prince. They called the Senate resolutions interference based on untrue allegations. The Thursday resolutions by the Senate included a call to end U.S. involvement in the Saudi-led war in Yemen, as well as the blaming of them for the Khashoggi murder. Saudi officials say they previously asserted that the murder of Saudi citizen Jamal Khashoggi is a deplorable time. Khashoggi was murdered in the Saudi consulate in Istanbul by a Saudi kill team. Saudi officials are complaining that the Senate noting this is a blatant interference in the kingdom's internal affairs, undermining the kingdom's regional and international role. The Saudis so far aren't doing anything but complaining, though they want to avoid any ramifications on the ties between the two countries that could have significant negative impacts on this important strategy relationship. Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spendabit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spendabit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co. Reuters reports election officials across Florida say they expect former felons to flock to their offices to register to vote next month when a newly passed ballot initiative launches one of the largest enfranchisement efforts in modern U.S. history. But partisan politics and logistical questions are clouding the January 8th rollout of a state constitutional amendment that could restore voting rights to more than 1 million ex-felons in Florida. Democrats and voting rights advocates cried foul this week when Governor-elect Ron DeSantis, a Republican and critic of the measure known as Amendment 4, said the Republican-controlled state legislature must first pass a law to implement the changes. DeSantis said, "I don't see any way around that. Regardless of whether you want it, you know, all to be implemented tomorrow, or whether you are trying to kind of frustrate it." Florida Democratic Party Chairwoman Terry Rizzo said in a statement calling DeSantis' move an act of voter suppression by Republicans who want to pick and choose who should have the right to vote. And State Senator Dennis Bexley, the Republican chairman of the Ethics and Elections Committee, agreed the measure largely could take effect without new laws. Democrats have celebrated the measure's passage as a civil rights victory, as well as a chance to expand the electorate in their favor in battleground Florida, the largest of the states that swing between parties in presidential elections. Florida has barred ex-felons from voting for 150 years. African Americans who favor the Democratic Party have been disproportionately affected by felon voter disenfranchisement. The measure, approved by more than 64% of Florida voters in November, states that felons' voting rights shall be restored upon completion of all terms of the sentence, with the exceptions for those convicted of murder or sexual offenses. Members of a bipartisan coalition that wrote the ballot initiative and campaigned for its passage are adamant that its language was designed to take effect without any further laws. Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They are working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform. The unique spelling of Horizon is a nod to their heritage and recognizes that they remain committed to the vision that their project was built upon. Their coin and ticker symbol remain ZEN. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community. HORIZEN.global. Antiwar.com reports at least 12 people have been killed and 25 wounded in and around the vital Yemeni aid port of Hodeidah as pro-Saudi forces clash with the Shiite Houthi movement and Saudi warplanes strike the area. All of this is raising concern after a successful week of peace talks in Sweden, which ended in a ceasefire deal, and growing concerns that the skirmishes might mean the ceasefire will not take hold. The UN and officials on both sides are downplaying that, however, saying that the official ceasefire deal has been put off a few days and will be implemented on Tuesday at midnight. That's the hope, at least. Violent clashes in Hodeidah have displaced thousands and are threatening the food supply for millions of Yemenis. Continued fighting in the lead up to the new deadline might get out of control and the ceasefire might never be implemented at all. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Good morning. later this afternoon, I will be engaging in an extramarital affair. Of course, I will wish that I had never made the horrible mistake I'm about to spend several hours making, but sadly, I'm currently too blinded by greed and lust to care about or consider the consequences of my actions. The liaison I will be taking part in shortly with two poor deaf teenage runaways is in direct opposition to the values you elected me to uphold. I also wish to apologize to my wife, Linda, to my two beautiful children, Allison and Christopher. It hurts me more than you will ever know that this scandal will impact your life so terribly. I can only pray that the revelations you will soon hear concerning my fetishes, physical flexibility, and penis will not scar you to the point of dementia. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to get to the hotel immediately, so I will not be taking questions. Thank you.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. You can take control of the airwaves here. You can bring up anything that you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE. Amazon in hot water with protests outside of some of their fulfillment centers and more going on. People are upset at apparently some of the working conditions, allegedly, with Amazon. We can tell you more about that. Plus, your calls and thoughts are welcome. You can bring up anything you want. We've been discussing everything from people shooting cops to these esports, so-called esports. I'm a bit of a critic on that one. Although I'd love to hear the other side of it. I want to hear from a fan. You know, if because all we've said here on Free Talk Live over these last several months where this topic has come up is we've expressed confusion, and I've expressed, kind of like the grumpy old man of back in my day we played games for fun, and so I want to hear from somebody who's a huge fan. I want to hear from somebody who's gone to one of these stadiums and actually paid money to. Do the beers cost $7 at the esports stadiums too?
I bet they do.
Somebody who's done this, somebody's had that experience, and they're like, "I love this. I want to hear why it's so great for you." If you want to share it, you're welcome to. 855-450-FREE. Because I don't know any of these people. Like, I don't know. At least nobody's ever told me. Yeah, we're going to Boston for the esports convention or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I know people go to video game conventions, and I presume there's probably some component of like a competition that would happen at like a video game convention.
Makes sense.
But there are actual events where it's just esports.
Yeah.
It's just teams competing against each other playing different video games. There's sponsorships. Just like in NASCAR or whatever, these guys have logos on their
I went
apparel.
to E3 one year.
Really? In Vegas?
It was at the Staples Center in L.A.
Oh, I don't know why I thought it was in Vegas. I guess I figured E3 was always in Vegas.
I don't know where. It's the only. I can only tell you where it was one time.
When was it? What year was that?
I would have to narrow that down, like 2002.
Now E3, that's all video games, right?
Yeah.
Because there's also an electronics convention. It's not the same thing, I don't think. They don't have like brand new TVs or new tech like that. It's all video
games. Yeah.
Cool, man. Yeah, so comment on whatever you want here. Amazon. Here's a story from TheGuardian.com. One of a couple stories about Amazon. Amazon facing boycott ahead of holidays as public discontent grows. The holiday season's all about spending time with your loved ones and, judging by most office mailrooms, shopping on Amazon. Last year, 76% of Americans who shopped online for Christmas presents said they plan to do most of that shopping on Amazon. Amazon now accounts for just shy of half of all online sales in the United States, and Santa's not-so-little helper is expected to have another bumper Christmas this year. But there are a growing number of people whose front steps won't be graced by Amazon packages this festive season, consumers boycotting the online retailer. No one denies the convenience of shopping on Amazon, but for some, there are a host of reasons. From the working conditions at Amazon warehouses, the company's aggressive anti-tax lobbying, its impact on local business, or its selling of white nationalist merchandise that make the convenience too high a price to pay. But even those shoppers concede their boycotts come at a price. Stephen Shamrock, who's age 51, had been considering boycotting Amazon for a while. First, when he learned how Amazon workers were treated. Jeff Bezos might be one of the richest men in the world, but Amazon's median salary is a paltry $28,446 per year. The second time Shamrock, that doesn't sound too bad. But.
I mean, I don't know what they're doing. I mean, if you're moving stuff around a warehouse or that sort of thing, what kind of training does it take? Often you have to
lift with your legs.
Lift with your legs, yeah. Often you have to, try harder. So you move to different places. Those kind of things to make labor work.
According to the story,
there's a lot of competition for people with strong backs.
The second time Shamrock considered boycotting Amazon was he read about the company's dominance in web services. Amazon Web Services controls around 45% of the world's cloud computing capacity and provides the web services for customers ranging from Netflix to the CIA to UK's Ministry of Justice.
Yep, the Amazon does provide a lot of sort of computers on racks.
The last straw came in May of this year when he read that Amazon was banning customers who made too many returns. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, look, I don't care. I don't like the idea they're hosting the CIA, but dude, customer is not always right. And there are some scam artists in the retail customer field.
This is one of those people that doesn't like big companies.
Yeah.
And look,
that's fine. Whatever.
I don't like big governments.
Yeah.
I understand where you're coming from. Your business is your business to do as you please. But
that's the nice thing about the market is you can take your business elsewhere. You don't like it.
I did business in the 1980s. Mm-hmm. I know what it was like, and it stunk. I mean, it was trying to return a product that you didn't want. These big box stores, big companies, have made it so that returns are much easier than they used to be.
Yeah. That's true.
I remember buying a pair of Reebok shoes and then trying to go return them the next day and them telling me no. I'll bet you that
you were
wouldn't
a little
happen.
punk kid too.
Well, what?
Right? In the 80s?
Well, I was a kid.
Yeah, you were a punk kid. They probably thought you were trying to scam them.
I don't know what they thought, but they did not take the
you
shoes
had a mohawk
back.
Too.
I don't know that was going on.
You did have a mohawk at one point, though.
At one point, but
80s.
not at that time.
Okay.
At that point, this was sort of this was mid 80s. Maybe early, somewhere in there. It was. I had like a rat's tail and breakdance stuff.
I worked in retail in the 1990s at Kmart, and I would regularly get called up to the customer service desk, to help them process a return of some sort. And the amount of times that there were attempted scams going on up there were very common. It was not uncommon at all. I mean, the old brick in the box scam, where, somebody tries to return something that's not even in the box. There's all kinds of things that go on. I mean, a lot of times these are crackheads or people that are, looking for a fix, trying to get a quick credit card or not, quick refund in cash. That's why a lot of these stores have gone to store credit, where you cannot actually, without a proper receipt, without being within the correct window, you'll still get something. You'll get store credit. You don't get anything that you can walk out with.
In most cases, that's fine by me. Most of the time, I'm returning something that's at Home Depot, and you
can use something else.
Didn't need that item, and I'm going to buy something at Home Depot, and a gift card to Home Depot is basically as good as cash as far as I'm concerned. But or
they'll shoplift an item and then try to return the very same item they've shoplifted from another store, or whatever.
But returns were
from the same store 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, returns were difficult back then.
So you've got Amazon's dealing with the same group of scam artists, except more clever because they're doing it online, right? They don't actually have to stand in front of you, so they can do different things. So I don't think that's a problem. Anyway, going on here, Shamrock says, if a company gets too big, they can start picking and choosing their customers. It's not really a business that promotes competition. Well, I mean, no business really wants competition, right? We all know that competition's good because it makes it so that businesses are on the ball. It makes it so, their prices tend to go down, their service tends to go up. But that means more work for the company. They've got to, get their game on, so to speak, in order to compete. And that's harder. So it's rare that you'll see businesses actually wanting competition in their field. That's why you see a lot of them working with governments to regulate their competition out of business. Like the taxi cab companies that don't want Uber and Lyft working in their areas.
Sure.
According to him, nothing is good in extremes, especially large companies that can end up controlling prices or distorting them. He says, quote, I think anytime a company gets that large and gets that much economic power, it never ends well.
So distorting pricing. This is interesting. Walmart is able to do this also. So they'll go so far as to go to the manufacturer and figure out ways that they've got what the inefficiencies they've got in their process.
That's not distortion.
Well,
that's efficiency.
Terminology he's using is distortion. Are they able to affect price? Yes. What is price? Price is where supply and demand meet. So what they're trying to do is drive down price in order to get to get more sales through demand, right? Now, what does it mean when you say distort pricing?
I don't know what he means.
I don't know what he means, but I can say that the bigger the company, the more clout they have as far as pricing goes.
No, there's a downside, right? When Walmart goes in, they in some cases have asked just for a cheaper product. Like, okay, I remember the old story about Levi's jeans. They cut a deal with Levi, and the deal was that they couldn't offer a price above X. So Levi cut quality on that the Walmart brand that they had, that they manufactured specifically for Walmart.
Yes, I have heard that.
Walmart got to sell Levi, but it wasn't the same Levi that you would get at,
Compromise.
wherever you would get a Levi. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. There is always a trade-off. 855-450-3733. Protests. People are boycotting Amazon. Are you one of them? Is there an Amazon boycotter in our audience tonight? Because I'd love to hear from you as to why that is. There's more to the story. It's Free Talk Live. When do you want to spot that burglar? When he's casing your home or after he's in? Ask John, whose Blink camera alerted him of burglars trying to break in while his family was home. Or Shannon, whose Blink camera caught a package thief. Blink motion-activated cameras are wire-free, set up in minutes, and run on 2 AA batteries that last up to 2 years. Save up to a whopping 40% off all add-on cameras and systems through December 22nd while supplies last. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, the inventor of MyPillow, and like all of you out there, I had problems sleeping. Pillows would go flat, I would flip-flop all night long, I would wake up with a sore neck, maybe a headache, or feel like I needed a nap even though I slept 8 hours. When I invented MyPillow, I wanted it to where you can move the patented fill to give you the exact support you need as an individual, regardless of sleep position. MyPillow will get you into that deep sleep faster and you will stay there longer. It's not about how much time we spend in bed, it's about how much of that quality sleep we get. I do all of my own manufacturing right here in the United States. I have a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry MyPillow, and I give you a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose.
And here's Mike's best offer ever. MyPillow is now offering 50% off their 4-pack special plus free shipping. Go to mypillow.com or call 800-951-5617 and use promo code FTL. That's 50% off plus free shipping. Don't delay. Order now.
Several weeks after the car accident that resulted in the death of his longtime friend Matthew Abrams, local man Keith Bisbee told Onion reporters today that he isn't sure how much longer he should continue using the photo of his deceased friend as his profile picture on Facebook.
People can't really expect me to keep this up forever, right?
Bisbee told reporters he felt like he had done more than his part to preserve the young man's memory. Bisbee added, however, that he had no idea when to go about changing his profile picture.
I'm pretty sure nobody would judge me if I went ahead and changed the photo right now. Matt wouldn't expect me to still have a picture of him up. I mean, I wouldn't expect that of him. You know, I should just do it. Maybe I can go online later tonight when nobody's on. But his girlfriend gets home late from work. I don't really want to seem disrespectful. Maybe I could do it tomorrow morning, or...
At this time, Bisbee has reluctantly changed his profile picture to an image of a gay rights equal sign and is, quote, just waiting to see what happens next.
This is the Onion News Network.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want here, talking about apparently a boycott that some people are participating in regarding Amazon. They've got a variety of grievances. In fact, some people are even protesting outside of a Amazon fulfillment center. With you in the studio tonight, by the way, it's Ian.
Melanie.
And Mark.
As we continue, I do want to make sure you know about Anarchapulco. February 14th through the 17th. We're 2 months away from Anarchapulco 2019. Ron Paul's coming back. That's right. They had him in 2018, and it was a sold-out house. The entire place was packed. It was standing room only. If you haven't seen Ron Paul before, this is one of your last chances to do so. Go and get your tickets now over at anarchapulco.com. Code FTL. Also, Judge Napolitano is going to be there for the first time, as well as dozens and dozens of other people who are within the liberty movement, people who are free thinkers, voluntarists, libertarians, and ANCAPs, people who will be discussing entrepreneurship, investments, politics, philosophy, health, sustainability, lifestyles, and personal relationships for 4 days among the sun and beaches of a world-class resort. I got to say, I'm looking forward to it. I enjoyed the last two immensely. It's a great event.
Yeah, they're great.
It is, in my opinion, the premier libertarian event on the planet right now. You got to go and check this thing out.
You're not the only one who believes that.
Yeah, it's huge.
Jeffrey Tucker said the same thing.
Yeah, they're not paying me to say that. They don't pay us to go to this thing, by the way. They
took
cover
my
our
quote.
hotel room.
Yeah.
You know, and an airplane ticket. And that's it.
Yep, hotel room, airplane ticket. Yep.
So,
we get a tab.
Really?
Yeah. I didn't tell you about it.
I don't mind paying, for drinks or whatever. It doesn't really.
It's a big tab.
Really?
Yeah.
So, like, for what? For like meals and stuff?
Yeah.
Huh.
They're covering our meals because I'm doing Cryptopulco MC.
Oh, so is that like anywhere on the hotel campus, so to speak? We could just go to any old restaurant there.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. All right, that's cool. Well,
I'm buying your dinner for 4 or 5 days.
I'm still going to be tipping because it's important
you
to do that. So anyway, go to anarchapulco.com. It's great, and you know what? It's not a big deal to eat in these places because it's very affordable. By the way, even on the hotel property, it's affordable. If you're used to going to hotels and paying for hotel meals in the United States, you get just elaborate food at this hotel for a fraction of the cost of what you pay in for room service or whatever. Remember we got breakfast in the room one year and it was like $5 for an insane plate of the equivalent basically of $5 for just like an insane plate of fresh fruit and eggs and toast and everything. So I loved it. It was for somebody who's frugal like me. It's
right, you've never had room service in your life.
No, it's true. I've looked at the prices in the United States. I'm like, the hell with this. We're going out. But it's also fun to leave the hotel as well and get into Acapulco and kind of explore around.
I love that part.
And that's my favorite. That's one of my favorite parts is to go to the taquerias and eat the real Mexican food.
Walking around and just meeting people and seeing all the little shops.
February 14th through the 17th, and you get to meet all kinds of libertarian folks. It's not about just seeing Ron Paul. It's about the other people who are there attending the event that you get to meet. We'll get to meet a lot of our listeners. We did this year, and so we'll look forward to seeing you if you're there. Anarchapulco.com. Go get your tickets with code FTL to save some money off of those ticket prices, although they're already pretty reasonable. Anarchapulco.com, code FTL, like Free Talk Live. We get back into the Amazon story here. People are boycotting Amazon this holiday season over a variety of reasons. David is on the line, though, in New Mexico. You're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, I threw a no-hitter once.
Were you on LSD?
Would have been. Not that I recollect.
Okay.
But I may have been. Would have been the Anyway. But it would have been a perfect game, or may have been a perfect game, except somebody told me I had a no-hitter going. I didn't even know it, and I walked the next guy because I got nervous. But,
oh, man.
Yeah.
That's a good story, though.
Anyhow, Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Was this high school, little league? What was it?
It was high school.
Okay, it's impressive. A no-hitter is impressive under any circumstances.
Yeah, I even impressed myself. I chalked it up to I'm not all that great of a pitcher in terms of what you think of speed and all that, and but what I had is I had really good control. I could throw a baseball and basically like knock a domino off of whatever with the baseball. So I could put the ball wherever I wanted, whenever I wanted, and that's what seemed to do the trick.
Now, you weren't calling to brag about your sports feats tonight, were you?
No.
What were you calling about?
I just brought that up because I called to brag about that I used to hang out with Joe Walsh. Just kidding. True story, but that's not. I didn't call to brag. You were talking about the cops. I got this criminal complaint in front of me. I told Mark last night I got arrested for for NPR public radio arrested me for calling into their radio station.
Really?
And yeah. Well,
what are the charges?
I thought maybe I got it right in front of me. The charge is this time I got it. It says use of telephone to terrify, intimidate, threaten, harass, annoy, or offend. That's what it says.
Or offend?
But this is a call-in show that they're talking about, right?
Yeah, it's a call-in show that the University of New Mexico has it's a Thursday morning, 8 a.m. It used to be the KUNM call-in show. They changed it to Let's Talk New Mexico, and
you wanted to talk? And what was it that was so offensive, according to them?
Well, it says right here in the beginning of the criminal complaint, it says, basically, to sum it up without reading it word for word, it says that they told me they didn't want me to call in anymore, that I was not allowed to call in anymore, that I was blocked from calling because I always wanted to talk about the same thing, which you know exactly. I mean,
it gets pretty tiring when somebody does that, so I don't blame them for that. Did you then call back after they told you not to call again?
Yeah, I did.
Okay,
but,
well, that's criminal harassment.
So that's more like trespassing than just calling into somewhere that's open.
Well, but I think there's an interesting point that David's made on this, is that this is a university, a public university.
Okay.
Not a private university, a public university that takes public funds.
Okay,
that
there's an argument.
A radio station that is supposed to be the public airwaves, and he is a member of the public.
That's a good argument.
Having been invited, in a general sense, to call in, and then
You're saying you should not be able to be disinvited from a public forum.
It's one of the problems.
Well, yeah, I as a citizen of the state of New Mexico, I own that university, and the taxpayers pay.
Man, I can't tell you how many times I've gotten kicked off the college campus that I own.
If it's a state school, and it is, then they shouldn't be able to kick people out.
Yeah, good call. David, let us know how your case goes. I am interested in hearing more, because I presume you're going to take a not guilty, so let us know, and I appreciate your call here tonight. But yeah, I've been kicked off of the local college campus on a multitude of occasions.
You've been kicked out of the courthouse, the liquor store, the state
That's
liquor
right.
store.
I've been banned forever from all the state liquor stores. And I think it wouldn't hold up if it were actually challenged seriously in court. And indeed, when I was actually...
I just love that you were banned forever.
And forever, yeah. With no process whatsoever, no due process whatsoever.
Right, none.
Just a letter that they sent me. But there was the one time where they gave me a no trespass order from the college campus, and I had my attorney write a letter to them, and they rescinded it. So they knew they were in the wrong on that. But if you don't have an attorney that you can go to, then they're going to push you around.
Sure.
And if you
they're
don't,
going to act like they own whatever it is, because functionally they do. They have control over it.
All right, and they've kicked me out plenty of times for the day. What am I going to do about that? I can't get my attorney to write a letter that quick to get it rescinded. You have to leave, or else the police come, and then it's a criminal trespass, and then you're dealing with criminal charges. Anyway, more coming up. Free Talk Live.
The United States of Empire is a book that claims the United States is the empire of the world. George Washington had warned us against foreign wars. The United States of Empire shows that World Wars I and II left England broken. Its former colony, the U.S., had to save the empire. Was there ever a vote? Who do we fight for? The deep state began with World War I. The United States of Empire by James Dunn. Available at Amazon Books.
Silver has always been nature's very own antibiotic, and only one system allows you to produce an endless supply of nano-sized silver solutions right from the convenience of your home. Silver Lungs. With the addition of our unique lung delivery system, respiratory infections are targeted directly, where traditional oral administration simply cannot reach. This pioneering method also preserves the original particle sizes and delivers your silver solution directly into the bloodstream. See the Silver Lungs generator and lung delivery system at silverlungs.com. That's silverlungs.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
Hi, I'm Montel Williams. Most of you know me as a talk show host, but I'm also an author, actor, single father of 4, a fitness writer, avid snowboarder, and I'm also a medical marijuana patient. Like many of the million people who are living with multiple sclerosis, I'm in pain every single day. And sometimes my nerves are so raw that if you brushed up against me in an elevator, I'd scream. I can't sleep at night from the pain, and sometimes the spasms in my legs are so intense they will wake me up throughout the night. I've tried the strongest prescription medications available, and I'm going to tell you, they do not work. In fact, they leave me in a stupor, and most of the time, it's impossible to even live your life. Now, I've tried medical marijuana, and I'm going to tell you something, it works. If you'd like more information about medical marijuana, you can contact the Marijuana Policy Project at mpp.org or call 1-877-JOIN-MPP.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll free and bring up whatever you want. Our number here, 855-450-FREE. More on the Amazon supposed boycott that some people are engaged in. It's probably not going to really affect them very much, would be my guess. I'm just going to go out on a limb here and predict that Amazon's going to do better this holiday season than they did last holiday season. But then again, nobody stays on top forever. With you in the studio here tonight, it's Ian,
Melanie,
and Mark.
Also, don't forget to visit us online over at freetalklive.com, where we have the AMP program. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. And I want to thank Drew Davis, who is a Free Talk Live Platinum Amplifier. Now, we appreciate everybody who amps the show. We only ask $5 a month, but for whatever reason, Drew likes us enough, likes what what we do here at Free Talk Live, where he donated donates currently $25 per month. That's platinum. That's the top tier of the AMP program. By the way, you don't really get any extra perks for going to the top tier. It's basically the same perks. The only thing the platinums get that everybody else doesn't get is they can list their business name on the list of amplifiers. That's it. So really, there's not really any differences.
There's a pin that we had at one point that it was a platinum amplifier
That's
pin.
true. We did give out special pins to them at one point. But for the most part, everything's the same. You know, you get access to the AMP-only call-in lines, the AMP-only discussion rooms on the Discord. You get access to the AMP-only Facebook group. All AMP levels, even the $5 a month, they all get the same stuff there. So go to amp.freetalklive.com. You can learn more about the program. It's a way for you to help us get on more radio stations. If you like what we're doing here, you want to hear us on 300, because we're on almost 200. We're getting there. We're in the 190 range right now.
Real close.
We're kind of plateaued again at 190, but we're slowly adding stations over time, and it's the AMP program, your AMP dollars, that makes a difference for us. Unfortunately, at the same time, the AMP program's been sliding off in recent years. Like last week, I had 4 cancellations, but no new signups. So maybe it's the holiday season. Who knows what the reasons are. We don't always get an explanation as to why somebody cancels their AMP, but we sure could use a few more. So if you're out there thinking, you know what, I'll let somebody else support the show. If you really like what we do, please step up, amp the show. It's $5 a month. If you think what we do is worth the price of a fancy cup of coffee or a nice cheeseburger or something like that every single month, then it makes a difference for us. It makes it so we can reach out and advertise to talk radio. We can attend the talk radio convention. Used to be more than one per year, but now there's only one. So we go to that one and get if our new station needs a satellite receiver, we'll buy it for them. We'll do whatever it takes to get stations on board with Free Talk Live. If you're an amplifier, you can help us with that and get the perks. Like Drew Davis. Go to amp.freetalklive.com, amp.freetalklive.com. As we go to Vernon in New Orleans. Vernon, you're on Free Talk Live. Now, I see your topic here, and Free Talk Live is an open phone show. You can talk about anything you want, but I'm going to say on this one, there's one or two people that are banned from calling this show. And I don't want you to mention a person who's banned from calling by name
because they can't
call to defend themselves. It's not fair. So if you can talk about this generically, then I'm going to let you go ahead with it. Go ahead.
He who shall not be named,
okay.
Like Voldemort. We'll call it that. So in your previous segment, you had a gentleman call and say that he was charged with some sort of a harassment thing because he called a radio show multiple times, I guess was uninvited or whatever.
Yep.
And so my question was, who shall not be named, or let's just say anybody that you may ban from your show, would Free Talk Live ever take it upon themselves to either charge them if they were in New Hampshire and there was a law that allowed you all to do that, or even federally if they were calling from across state lines? And then also, you all need to consider banning Sarah because she brings up the exact same topic. It's transportation every single time.
No, it's not the exact same topic every time with Sarah. Hold on a second here. Hold on. It's not fair to say that about Sarah, but she is here to defend herself. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live with Vernon.
Oh, Sarah, tell us about the buses and about the public transportation and the red lights. And just tell us about how you don't listen to anybody and what they say. Go ahead. Tell us your agenda item of the night, please.
Sarah?
I don't think Sarah knows she's on the line. Sarah,
I'm pretty sure I did it right. I think I locked in Vernon's line and then I brought Sarah on here. Sarah, are you there? Stand by, Vernon. We're going to come back to you here in a moment. Let's see if we can get Sarah on the line here. Maybe I did do something wrong. Sarah, are you with us?
Yes, I'm on.
Okay, yeah, there's got to be some other switch that needs to get pressed or something because we tried to conference you there with Vernon.
Okay, I don't know what happened. But you know something? I do suck up to you guys because sometimes you guys are mean to me. But I know better. To work with you than to fight with you, or I would never be able to talk about like the red light camera election. So I wanted to talk about the election that we had here 13 years ago. That was over a decade, and I'm pretty sure that if we had the same red light camera election today, if they put it on like next
So this was a
month,
referendum item, basically, where people got to vote specifically whether they wanted red light cameras or not?
Yeah, it was just a non-binding election that we had like 13, 14 years ago. It was just a survey.
I can tell you this, Sarah, no one is ever going to say we want red light cameras.
No, but you know what?
Okay.
now, if we had an election again here, I'm just saying we might have a different result.
I don't think you will. I really don't believe that people are going to say, yes, what we want, shorter leashes, smaller food bowls. I mean, they're just not going to do that.
I mean, we're number one now in pedestrian fatality, 6 years in a row. Okay? The last time, all the people that got the tickets that were waving mad, they showed up. 3,000 more of them that hated the cameras, they showed up. I'm hoping that, this time, all the people that got run over and almost get killed or got T-boned, maybe will show up. I mean, that's what I'm hoping. Why not put it to the voters again? It's been over a decade. Why hold on to something that you did like 15, 13 years ago?
Well, I don't think that just because somebody votes, they vote something in, that makes it just right or good. It will likely make it legal, though.
Vernon, are you with us? Yeah, something's wrong with the phone system. I double checked with the board operator and like, hey, did I do this right? He said I did it right, so I don't know what's going on with that. That's too bad because I really wanted to have because Vernon was trying to call you out, Sarah. He was trying to claim we'll bring him back on here in a moment because we didn't finish his call. But he was trying to claim that you call about the same thing every night. I'm going to defend you. I don't think you do. I think you are, while you generally have an interest in traffic-related matters, that stems from the fact that you're a pedestrian and you deal with traffic-related matters quite often. It's a concern for you. But you've called.
I think there's a neurosis that surrounds it.
You've called about a variety of different subjects, and honestly, some nights you bring up some really interesting topics. So I think that all things considered, you're probably one of the better callers.
You called her our best chronic or something.
Yeah, I did. I called you our best, most consistent, at the least most consistent caller. Maybe not always the best content, but some nights, man, you do a real good job, Sarah. So I want to say thank you, even though you don't actually listen to the show, which probably would help you if you actually listen.
How could she? She doesn't have the internet.
Well, no, but she listens later. Do you ever listen often to KABQ on the air?
Well, you know what? Now I get to listen to my myself like 2 hours later,
right.
and I hear about what you guys add to it afterwards. Like now I'm able to listen to
right.
what
So she
you guys
does listen now, just later. So that's cool, Sarah. I'm glad you're actually listening to the show later on. Now remember, you can always respond the next day to the things that were talked about. I thank you for the call tonight, Sarah. I appreciate it. Let's bring Vernon back on here. Vernon, sorry about that. The technology, for whatever reason, it failed me, and you weren't able to actually talk to Sarah.
No problem. That was a good bathroom break. No problem at all.
Right.
But anyways, back to my original question. Would Free Talk Live ever press charges against anyone that was banned from your show that constantly called back?
Charges don't work like that. Generally, all you can do is call the police and hope that they do something. In the cases, if you want to press charges, it's all ultimately up to the prosecutor and the police, and you really have no say beyond trying to encourage them to do that. Mark, there was a particular caller who had threatened you in the past.
And everybody.
And it's been a few years since you'd called the cops on that person in both the local area and in the area in which he lives. And they never did anything, right? They just didn't even care.
Nope.
Yeah. So
they said both sides said it was the other
passing the buck.
Yeah, pass the buck.
Typical bureaucrats. Thanks for the call, Vernon. I appreciate it. All right, so more coming up. Your calls and thoughts welcome. Amazon protests and boycotts. We can talk more about that, or you can take control and bring up anything you want on Free Talk Live at 855-450-FREE.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
My doctor makes more informed decisions prescribing my blood pressure medications based on the data I presented to him on the Smart BP app.
That's one.
Smart BP can export a colorful, detailed blood pressure report that I can bring to my doctor.
That's two.
Smart BP is easy to use and intuitive, and the features on the free version are very generous.
And that's just 3 of the thousands of 5-star reviews of Smart BP, a new blood pressure tracking smartphone app from Evolve Medical Systems. Smart BP is the only app designed for ease of use and seamless connectivity to help manage your blood pressure and keep track of your health at your fingertips. With Smart BP, you can automatically sync your blood pressure measurements through Apple Health and Microsoft Health Vault. Connect with Apple Watch. Easily print and share detailed reports with your doctor, plus many more features. Smart BP is free and available both on Apple and Android devices. And be sure to search the App Store for Smart Blood Pressure from Evolve Medical Systems. That's Smart BP from Evolve Medical Systems, the Smart Blood Pressure Tracker.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing. To be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. You dial in toll-free and bring up whatever you want here. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. 'Tis the season for shopping, and some people are boycotting Amazon, according to a story at The Guardian. There's also a story about people actually protesting outside of one of their facilities, and we're not going to get into that one tonight, but I'll hold that for a future episode. This is the latest big corporation for people to get all angry about. It was Walmart for a while, which, by the way, if you want to order through Walmart, we actually have an affiliate link.
Walmart.freetalklive.com.
That's right. You don't have to. There's no hyphen, so just walmart.freetalklive.com, and then whatever you order through that link, Free Talk Live gets a very small.
You don't have the hyphenated one?
I guess I could make one.
Yeah, why wouldn't you do that?
I didn't even think about it. Does anybody ever hyphenate Walmart when they spell it? Anyway, Walmart.
Apparently they do, because you just warned them not to.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. Walmart.freetalklive.com. Yes, they're big. Yes, they're a corporation. And yes, they will cut us a portion of the proceeds. So there you go. Recently, according to the story here at The Guardian, Amazon announced it was going to start paying its employees at least $15 an hour. And that will exert some of its influence on Capitol Hill to lobby for an increase in the federal minimum wage. Now, that's something worth protesting right there. Terrible of them to go there and demand even more government. While on the other hand, sometimes Amazon argues against government involvement in their business. Sometimes they're arguing, they're actually packing up their offices and leaving an entire state because that state tried to implement a sales tax.
It's rare that a business will, especially one the size of Amazon, will take a stand for principle's sake.
Yeah, it almost never happens. While on the surface, the announcement
check out Overstock for that.
Seems to benefit the workers. The move also benefits Amazon. With the unemployment rate dropping below 4% and fewer Americans looking for jobs, companies have been scrambling to attract potential job candidates. And in order to get all those Amazon Prime packages out on time for the holidays, Amazon had to hire 100,000 more people this year. Those terrible, evil people hiring 100,000 people.
Right.
Shamrock, who said he might better, this is one of the boycotters, said he might reconsider his boycott if the company were to treat its employees better, was not impressed by the news. He and his wife and their twin 21-year-old son.
Hiring more people does not impress him.
Yeah.
What he wants is individual people to get bigger paychecks and better benefits. And I mean, like...
They're getting bigger paychecks, but he says it's not enough. Quote, the increase is still not to a living wage.
Right. Well, it's all about the living wage, right? Like a living wage is whatever he's arbitrarily decided it was.
People have been arguing that it's $15 an hour, and when he gets 15, he's like, that's not good enough.
Right. Well,
it's a 50% increase over what they were paying, but that's not good enough.
It's never going to be good enough for these types, out there that don't understand supply and demand. They don't understand economics.
Yeah.
And they're willing to. They're active. They're willing to get out there. They just aren't willing to really sort of let go of their preconceived notions of what people should be paid. Sorry to tell you, but manual labor, unskilled labor, is becoming less and less valuable in the marketplace.
Especially if it's replaced by robots, which Amazon is also working on diligently.
Expect that, especially with people out there doing these protests in such an uninformed fashion. Plus the fact that this planet has close to 8 billion people on it, and all of them, nearly, can work at a warehouse if you could communicate with
15
them.
an hour is pretty good for unskilled labor. I mean, that's... And then they...
Well, not in New York City.
Well, New York City is probably not a good idea
There's a warehouse
to live
job
in if you don't have any skills.
CNS Grocers right here in Keene, New Hampshire has warehouse jobs right now
I'm pretty
available.
sure they pay for performance there, too.
$23 per hour is what they're advertising currently.
Wow.
So they can, Amazon...
I think that's what you can make, maybe?
Look, I'm not here recruiting for them, Ian.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is Amazon is competing in the warehouse market against this.
Yep.
And the good people who do good warehouse work are clearly going to go to CNS.
Right.
And
the wholesale grocers.
The ones that Amazon's going to be scraping the bottom of the barrel, so they're either going to have to pay more or they're going to have to somehow train better.
Laura Klein would also like for Amazon to make more effort in order to get her to end her boycott. When she gets an urge to shop, she goes online and checks whether Amazon is still streaming NRA TV, the National Rifle Association's streaming media service. Shopping on Amazon is very convenient, but for the last 10 months, Ms. Klein has been boycotting the company.
Right. Whatever liberal show is streamed on whatever service we're talking about is completely inconsequential to this ideologue. Yeah. It's the fact that there is one organization streaming one program and she won't buy there.
Probably paying for it,
Amazon doesn't need your business.
Yeah. Does she also boycott the cable company because there's one channel on there that's got offensive
boycott
content?
The camera company that sold them the cameras. I mean, boycott the jean company that they're wearing pants.
Ridiculous.
And boycotting Amazon for 10 months, like how much stuff do you buy that not buying anything from Amazon for 10 months constitutes actually
a real significant boycott? She, at the time, the New York Times published a feature about NRA TV. This was during the Parkland, Florida shootings, and which broadcast pro-gun content and is streamed by Amazon Fire TV as well as Apple TV and Roku. It wasn't long before calls for Amazon boycott spread like wildfire across the internet. Months later, nothing has changed. As a result, Klein has done most of her holiday shopping at a local brick-and-mortar store and resolved to boycott the second season of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which premiered on Amazon Prime on the 5th of December.
She didn't boycott the first season, though.
Right, so... boycott the show you actually enjoy, even though they have nothing whatsoever to do. All those producers are probably Hollywood leftists, right? And whatever the show is we're talking about here, if it's made by professionals from Hollywood, they're probably on the left. But go ahead and boycott them because the distributor has something you don't like. Should you also stop subscribing from Netflix because they've got a movie you don't like?
Among its millions of options of things it could stream, it distributes one thing she doesn't like.
Yeah. There's a reason why Amazon isn't going to change this policy, because this is ridiculous, these claims.
If Amazon made the dumbest move ever, which was to drop this particular show in order to get this make this lady happy and get her business back, you know what she would do? She'd be boycotting Amazon again within 12 months in order to get something else.
She says,
because you don't negotiate with terrorists.
She says, because if they stop, then I'd say, oh, wonderful. I would love to do business with them again. But as long as they continue to, I just can't. Morally, I just can't. Guess where she lives? Which state?
California.
New Jersey. And she works in pharmaceutical marketing during the day. In her spare time, she works as an
I'm going to stop buying the drugs this lady that employs this lady.
The decision wasn't an easy one. Klein has been shopping on Amazon since the 90s, when she used the website to buy books and CDs. By 2018, she bought almost everything via Amazon, even her groceries. So I guess that's an answer to your question.
She's quite a shopper.
She had supported boycotts before of companies like Chick-fil-A, which faced a backlash for opposing same-sex marriage.
How'd that work out?
However, there was a boycott that happened, and people came in droves, stood around a block.
Chick-fil-A didn't bend. They didn't bend. They didn't break. They still make delicious.
My God, I love their sandwiches.
Yeah, I really love their sandwiches.
Can we get them as a sponsor?
I don't. Well, they're never. Chick-fil-A is never going to sponsor this show.
I know.
They never.
We're not pro-Christian,
right?
So.
We're not going to have their opinion. Look, I don't have to agree with them on everything in order to acknowledge that they have good sandwiches.
Although there was the Chick-fil-A in Nashua, which is a franchise. Most of them are franchisees, as I understand it. And they supported Gay and Lesbian Pride Fest that same year that all that controversy was happening.
Sure.
And Chick-fil-A didn't defranchise them over it.
No.
Hey, they're making money. They don't really care that much, apparently.
And by the way, it was just the opinions of like the CEO.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's still like the guy who founded the company, or is in the family of the guy.
He's outward facing on the company, but he's not. He doesn't hand down rules that everybody's got to abide by in every circumstance.
I think if you're a franchisee, you cannot open on Sundays as a Chick-fil-A.
No, I don't think you can do that. No.
So there are rules.
That's branding stuff, and it's important for that company.
Oh, that's the worst thing about Chick-fil-A is they don't.
I agree with you. However, it's important from a branding aspect that they keep that.
The whole Christian thing, we're a Christian company. Jesus said, "Don't work on Sundays." Or
there are people that buy from Chick-fil-A sandwiches that they would not otherwise buy from Chick-fil-A because they choose to take the stand to not open on Sundays.
She says the boycotts didn't really affect her personally because she wasn't buying from those companies that much anyway, that is to say Chick-fil-A. She says, I thought that's a really good idea, but I wasn't the one giving something up. And in giving up my business with Amazon, I wasn't just giving up on things. I felt like I was giving up pretty much everything. The boycott felt like a breakup, she said.
I think she's right.
I really had to think about, how do I buy things now? Where do I go? What do I do? I've gotten so used to not going to a physical store or using other online sources for shopping and figuring out how else to buy ebooks. It was really almost like starting from scratch in a lot of ways.
Did this woman just admit in public that she has to figure out how to go
buy
shopping?
Things. Yeah. To resist the temptation of Amazon, she deleted all Amazon apps from her phone and iPad.
How many Amazon apps she had on her phone and iPad?
It's, by the sounds of it, she was buying her food and everything.
Yeah, there's a few Amazon apps out there. Experts, however, aren't convinced that boycotts work, and that's a whole other story.
Well, mostly because people don't actually follow through with them.
And then there's the boycotts, again, which is sort of the economic counter to the boycotts, and we're out of time for tonight. But we'll see you tomorrow. Online, you can join us over at freetalklive.com and check out twitch.lrn.fm. Watch us there.
If you're looking for work, you know what I mean by elevator speech. It's the short version, saying just enough to make the listener want to listen more. Even if you're not a job seeker, effective communication skills have never been more important, with money and attention so scarce now. So to cut through the clutter, choose every single word as though it was the last word the person you're speaking to will hear. Otherwise, it might be. Instead of saying, due to the fact that, say, because. And avoid mispronunciations. Say jewelry, not jewelry, which could offend. Undoubtedly, you don't want to say undoubtedly. And whatever you do, never use a preposition to end a sentence with. Just kidding. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, December 17th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.61 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,240 per ounce. Zen is trading at $5, and the average price of Bitcoin is $3,441. Antiwar.com reports that Saudi Arabia issued a statement Monday morning condemning the U.S. Senate for a pair of resolutions calling them out for the murder of Jamal Khashoggi and blaming the Saudi Crown Prince. They called the Senate resolutions interference based on untrue allegations. The Thursday resolutions by the Senate included a call to end U.S. involvement in the Saudi-led war in Yemen, as well as the blaming of them for the Khashoggi murder. Saudi officials say they previously asserted that the murder of Saudi citizen Jamal Khashoggi is a deplorable time. Khashoggi was murdered in the Saudi consulate in Istanbul by a Saudi kill team. Saudi officials are complaining that the Senate noting this is a blatant interference in the kingdom's internal affairs, undermining the kingdom's regional and international role. The Saudis so far aren't doing anything but complaining, though they want to avoid any ramifications on the ties between the two countries that could have significant negative impacts on this important strategy relationship. Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spendabit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spendabit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co. Reuters reports election officials across Florida say they expect former felons to flock to their offices to register to vote next month when a newly passed ballot initiative launches one of the largest enfranchisement efforts in modern U.S. history. But partisan politics and logistical questions are clouding the January 8th rollout of a state constitutional amendment that could restore voting rights to more than 1 million ex-felons in Florida. Democrats and voting rights advocates cried foul